Oh, snap. I didn't even realize I was live already. Okay. All right, all right. No intros. We're going straight into reading. I was playing a little too much Marvel Rivals, and I realized it's a really good game. So I was like, I should stop playing and go live. It's like, because I need to read. It's like, Wiz is literally on volume 5. What's up, bro? What's up, Mysterious Fool? I was like, Wiz literally started volume 5. And I'm like, I'm over here playing Marvel Rivals. I'm getting too complacent. It's like, I need to go live and keep reading. All right, let me turn on the air because it's too damn hot in here. All right, I'm going to get the chapter ready. We're not stalling, and we're just going straight into it. Oh, my God. I don't even have my music open. One sec. Oh, he's using it. Give me a sec. Hold up. Let's play. Shit. One sec. Hold up. Bro, random live? I know. It is a random live. I wasn't going to go live until a lot later. But I was like, shit. I was playing Marvel Rivals, and then I saw Wiz started volume 5. It's like, I need to go live. One sec. Seven 5 XP already. All right. I'm back. Can't stay. I'll be back in a bit. Over half an hour. That's not a good username. We'll still be here. We'll be done with our intro in 30 minutes. I'm fucking kidding. It's not going to take that long. All right. Okay. Just get my music ready. Why is it playing on that? Is my music playing or no? On here. Oh, whoa! Wait, not that music. Hold up. That's the F1 music. Stream music. Yeah, I definitely can't play that music. The positions aren't even random. It's like it has something to do with the account itself, but I'm not sure what it is. Oh, the whole EXP system? I'm not sure, dude. Like, because I don't know how it works. That I actually don't know. I'll be honest. I don't know how it works. But let me get the chapter ready, and let's get reading. Just open it up. Lord of the Mysteries. Open. Close. Then we're going to pop out chat. Open up my notepad. Place here. Notes here. Chat here. I wish I had like a third monitor, like just for like chat and timestamps. And then I'm able to free up more space on my screen, man, and just have more like real estate for, or more screen real estate. That would have been nice. But let's see, we're on 778. Beautiful. All right, let's get the music. I'm not gonna raise the volume on my end. I think it's good right there. All right. This is a random live stream, but we're gonna cut our intro short. We're going to read. Our competitor is at volume 5. I was playing Marvel Rivals, and I was like, he started volume 5 already? He's like, oh, I gotta stop playing. I gotta get back to reading, dude. So here we are. You know who it is? I am your host, Easy Geeky. Oh, wait. Our beautiful, honorific. The reader who stalls for eternity. The tamer of beasts and dogs. The one who farms. LOTM. Easy Geeky is here. Walls closing in for fight. Oh my God. You're right. Oh, we're gonna get a fight. All right, I'm excited. All right, let's read, and then we'll get the music ready. Look, I'm a little low energy because I just made my coffee. I forgot there was a fight. All right, let's get reading. I'm so excited for the Mr. X assassination attempt. Oh, it's gonna be so good. Can I even say that a minute into the video? You know, Assassin's Creed. It's my favorite video game from back in the day. Okay, I think we're good. I think we worked around that word. Perfect. Awesome. All right, intro, timestamps, and let's keep reading. Awesome. Perfect. Let me just search up walls closing in right here. Thank you for reminding me, Kemi. Walls closing in. And I think what I'm gonna do later tonight or tomorrow morning, I'm gonna watch episode 4 off stream, and then I'll just be streaming a read through, and then I'll end stream when episode 5 drops, and I'll watch that off stream and post it. Just for just so we can be safe and like not get a strike, because we've been pretty good so far when we're streaming while we're live, but I don't want to risk getting the strike while we're streaming. But I know if I do it off stream, it's good. Like once I upload the video, it's good. Because I realize a lot of the music's username recommended, they're all copyright free. But for some reason, a lot of the music kept getting claimed. So monetization is off. I do not necessarily care about monetization on a live stream, right? It's just a live stream, and I know right now most people have been watching the VODs. But I found it weird because then once it went up on the video, like once I posted the VOD, there was no claims on it. So the way I interpret it, I guess claims are more likely to happen when you're live. I don't know if that makes sense. It's weird. It was so weird. There was like 6-7 claims, and then like monetization was off. Like it had like a little red icon. It was so weird. But then once the video went up, it like there was no claim, and it was only on the live stream. It was so weird. I didn't get it. But let's keep reading. I got walls closing in. I got it ready. I got it locked and loaded. It's posted, and once we get into fight, we'll play that. So now let's keep reading. All right, chapter 778. Cammy's to go above me on the leaderboard with one more message. I can feel it. It's coming in, Walter. It's creeping in. Well, right now it's just you guys since it was a random stream. Chapter 778 is called 1 + 1 is greater than 2. All right. I am excited to read this bold mathematical statement on how 1 + 1 is greater than 2. Let's find out. While passing through the living room, that's what it says, right? Yeah, it's weird. While passing through the living room, Klein's spiritual perception was triggered. He felt that there was an invisible gaze scanning from his unknown location. His feigned ignorance as he entered the activity room ahead, he surveyed the area and found a spot that wasn't too far or close to the host's seat. And at that moment, he passed through the activity room and all the intention on him vanished. If not for the Wraith having 3 seals to isolate it, it probably would have been noticed. Mr. X doesn't appear as bold as crazy as he seems. Klein sat down and moved his hood, hiding his face from deeper in the shadows. After about 10 minutes, when most of the members had arrived, a brass mask wearing Mr. X appeared by the door without causing a commotion. He walked in and headed towards his seat. He was dressed in a black classical robe with a pointed magic hat. As he walked, he had a converged aura, but it was enough converged aura? A converged aura, but it was enough to make everyone present bow their heads without realizing it. Turning around and slowly taking in his seat, Mr. X surveyed the room and said in a deep voice, "Let's begin." He's within 4 meters. Klein wasn't in a rush to take action. He retracted his gaze and patiently watched as few gathering members exchanged information about people with abnormal luck for money. Occasionally, Mr. X would reply. Time ticked by as the gathering focus went from Mr. X's act of handing out rewards to the transactions between the members. Klein didn't hesitate as he tapped his left thumb on the first segment from the index finger twice, activating his spirit body threads vision. Illusionary black threads immediately surfaced before his eyes as they emanated from the bodies of different people out into the void towards some boundless distance. After making a simple distinction of the threads, Klein began to secretly control Mr. X's spirit body threads. Ain't no way it's this... Already? Is it really this easy? Klein began to secretly control Mr. X's spirit threads? Okay. Wait, I'm already going to change it. Hold up. I'm actually already changing it. What? Is it already going straight into it? Wait, let me pause my music. What? Let me just lower it on my end a little bit. Let me loop it. Let me go to the end and make sure it loops. Let's let it repeat. Just make sure it loops. Okay. We're going to keep the volume a little low, and then I'll raise it in a bit. Okay. But there's no shot. Yeah, you could have read the fight last stream to page, but didn't want to force it. Oh, thank you, Kemi. Yeah, sorry about that, man. Yeah, I know, my bad. After making a simple distinction of threads, Klein began to secretly control Mr. X spare threads. There were two difficulties to the mission, according to his plan. The first was having Astrologer as one. No, there's no shot it's gonna end this easily, right? There were two difficulties to the mission, according to his plan. The first was that having the Astrologer as one of the earlier jobs in his pathway, Mr. X or the other hidden Aurora Order Saints might be able to sense the danger when being controlled by the spirit body threads, accurately sensing some abnormalities. Klein wasn't sure about Mr. X's spiritual intuition because back when Miss Sharon existed in Wraith state, she failed to notice marionnettist Rosago controlling of her spirit body threads. Oh, she never picked that up. Yeah, that's true. She actually never realized that. However, for a saint who was a demigod, a high sequence beyond her who had obtained godhood, no special trait of the being would... Oh my god, I can't read. I haven't finished my coffee. It's so early. No special trait of this being would surpass Klein. It wasn't surprising if that being the spiritual intuition was triggered due to the changes in another person's spirit body threads. From other marionetteists, there was probably helpless regarding this, but Klein was different. He had another identity as a fool. He had the powers of the mysterious space above the great fog to aid him, allowing him to rely on paper angels to produce interference and eliminate any hidden problems. The gathering continued without any abnormalities. More than 10 seconds passed as Klein was close to gaining initial control of Mr. X. There was only 3 seconds left, but this Aurora Oracle didn't notice at all. He continued observing the completion of another transaction with a deep look in his eyes. His thoughts... No way. His thoughts a mystery. At that critical moment, Klein stopped. He barely maintained his progress as he extended his hand, reaching into his pocket in the hooded robe and touching the iron cigar case, which had been sealed with a wall of spirituality. Klein moved his fingers, prodding it gently to remove the wall of spirituality, allowing it to disperse into a swirling wind inside his pocket. He pulled back his palm and waved it for a few seconds until Mr. X's gaze looked to the side before he continued controlling the spare body threads. 2 seconds, 1 second, 0. Mr. X's thoughts turned sluggish as though someone had poured... Thank you, Walter. This is it. This is the stream. Mr. X's thoughts turned sluggish as though someone had poured stirred cement onto him. It's over? He got him? An enemy, danger, slow thoughts appeared in his head as he quickly made his decision. He planned on seeking help from his subordinates and the entity who was watching in secret to put up an effective resistance. At that moment, coldness drilled into his body, preventing his limbs and mouth from answering his wall. Admiral Blood Center, a Wraith's possession. There were many flaws to your marionette's control of the spirit body threads. The biggest problem was the target immediately realized that there was a problem once initial control was obtained. Oh, initial control. Not full control. They will then have the ability to carry out any contingencies. If it was one-on-one without anyone around them, Klein could naturally use the target's increasingly impedant state to effectively disrupt an interference with any resistance they put up. But if the target had any ideas, it would be very difficult for a marionette's control to fool others. It required help from the environment or partners to conceal the matter without exposing it. And on this point, a Wraith who was able to possess a target and forcibly control them was the best support for marionettists. The reason why Klein didn't directly enter a state of initial control was because he needed to release the Wraith. After the initial inspection at the door, the vigilance in the activity room and the gathering location was definitely lowered. Mr. X's eyes widened as his thoughts turned sluggish. His instinctive attempt to shout was blocked by his throat and mouth, slicing him completely. His attempt to raise his hands also slowed down as they reached for porcelain teacup by his side. This completely violated his will. It was because of the cold aura that occupied every corner of his body. Wraith Marionettist combo. So sick. Wraith Marionettist. No, if this continues, I'll die silently. Mr. X immediately controlled his spirituality as he constructed complicated symbols and labels in his mind. He was just about to open a traveler's door, which was also the door of teleportation to escape the marionette's control range. Compared to that, a Wraith possession was relatively less dangerous, but amidst his sluggish thoughts, the illusionary symbols and labels failed to appear all at once. Instead, they appeared one after another in a discontinuous manner and at an insufficient speed. Seizing this opportunity, Wraith Sinner, who was possessing Mr. X under the marionette's Klein's control, simply moved Mr. X's head, changing his seating position. Such an action instantly interrupted the formation of the Traveler's Door. Oh no, my reaction is too slow. It will be interfered by the Wraith. Use mystical item. Mr. X's eyes filled with blood, but none of his subordinates around him notice it. No one notices, dude. Even the one watching in secret didn't notice any abnormalities. As for the gathering members who were interacting and trading, they lowered their voices because of this change in the seating posture. At that moment, the activity room was filled with people. Although there were beyonders everywhere and many were his assistants, Mr. X found himself in extreme solitude and was helpless. He didn't even know who was attacking him or where the attacker was sitting. It's crazy how strong Klein is now, man. Like, no one, like, even senses him, dude. At that moment, the activity room was filled with people, although there were beyonders everywhere and many were his assistants. Mr. X found himself in extreme solitude and was helpless. He didn't even know who was attacking him or whether the attacker was sitting. As the thoughts went through his mind, Mr. X reigned control of his spirituality as he directed it towards a golden ring with an embedded ruby on his left index finger. However, going for a thought to a decision and then going for decision to act to an action took too long. It was as though he was acting out of his thought process in slow motion. So just don't think, just act. Don't think to act, just act to act. This gave Sinner plenty of time to raise Mr. X's left palm, bent his fingers, and tapped the side of his forehead, which was uncovered by the brass mask as though in thought. It was a very faint tapping sound, the strength used for quite significant, but under Klein's control, Sinner held back perfectly. It was most of his strength entered Mr. X's mind without spreading outwards to hide any of the commotion. Tack, tack. Mr. X's thoughts emitting his spirituality were disrupted, and he was temporarily unable to find his train of thought. By the time he recovered, the marionette's control had deepened. It's crazy. This made his thoughts chaotic and impeded. Even his thinking and decision-making became extremely difficult. With the Wraith using all kinds of tiny concealing actions to interfere with Mr. X's attempts to use various beyond powers and impressive mystical items, he slowly slid towards the abyss of becoming a marionette. He watched helplessly as he marched towards death slowly. Only then did he realize how terrifying and unsolvable the combination of a marionettist and Wraith was. The hunt continued silently under everyone's noses as Klein controlled deepened. Mr. X's actions turned stiffer and sluggish. However, with the Wraith possessing him, no one could notice any problems. To be precise, Mr. X's actions were no longer a result of the sluggish him, but from the Wraith Sinar. No shot, dude. He wasn't even able to show the look of despair in his eyes, so amidst the transactions, they either succeeded or failed. Ranging from arguments to negotiations, 5 minutes quickly passed. Klein was just one last step from killing Mr. X and turning him into a marionette. No way, dude. However, he couldn't do so. This was because he had yet to digest much of the marionette's potion. He could only control one marionette at present, so if he wanted to convert Mr. X, he had to give up Brave Senor. Is that what he's going to do? But once he gave up Senor, this Admiral Blood, who was long dead, would immediately surface and be discovered by everyone. It would bring about extreme trouble. Oh, so he can't. Similarly, if Klein didn't give up his Wraith marionette, had and assassinated Mr. X while he wasn't able to resist, he needed to consider the Aurora Order Saint who was lurking in the shadows. This was the second most difficult part of his plan. To silently control Mr. X and remove his ability to resist wasn't difficult, but the combination of a marionettist and a Wraith. The way to kill him wasn't difficult as well. No shot, it's not difficult. Mr. X in his present state could easily be finished off by Klein with an air bullet. He's come such a long way. The difficulty was in leaving safely after pulling off such a stunt. This action required sufficient patience. Time slowly passed, with Klein appearing calm despite his tense nerves. He pretended that he wasn't interested in the items that appeared, as he kept silent the entire time. Finally, when the gathering came to an end, Mr. X said in a deep voice with complete normality, "The end." His words were succinct, just like the way he ended the previous gathering. I read that wrong. This was what Shio described to Forrest. At the gathering, members stood up one by one. Klein mixed in among them, looking inconspicuous. At the same time, he reached his hand into his pocket and he flipped open Layman's Travels based on his sense of touch. Oh, end of the chapter. I have arrived. Bro, what's up, dude? No shot. He's like taking control of Mr. X. Why is this chapter called One Shot? Does it really just take one air bullet to take him out? There's no fucking way. And there's no fucking way I did not do a timestamp for the last chapter. It had to have been 778. 778 had to have been at the 1 minute. I'm gonna just put 1 minute. We're gonna gauge it. 1 minute was that intro. All right, what the fuck? Okay, next chapter, chapter 779. We're 11 minutes, 44 seconds. Copy paste. I need to lower the volume down on my end just a smidge. It's a little bit too loud for me. Man, it's a small stream. Yeah, it was random. No, it's okay, Bullseye. Oh, I literally just turned on stream. Easy to remember, praise the full. I know, man. Always praise indeed. Yeah, I think starting Monday, I'll properly just set up schedule times, because tomorrow I won't be able to stream that much just because I had to go out for a party. But I will stream early in the morning, and then I am gonna watch the episode. And then I am. Wait, no, I lied. The party is Saturday, and I'm watching Superman tomorrow. No, praise the true creator. You know, I was about to say, where's Romero, man? He would have been saying praise the true creator by now. For fuck's sake, Walter, what happened, dude? Also, Buzzlight took the first book. How did he take it so quickly? Wait, how the fuck? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. How the fuck did Bullseye get first? He said one message and he took first place. Let me go back. It took him 3 messages. Bullseye went 0, and then his second message, number 3, and then the first message, number 1. Oh, you know what it is? I am him. I think I know what it is. I think it's not only a mix of how many messages you sent, but how consistently you message. So I assuming if more than a minute or a few minutes like lap, the leaderboard's reset. 3 messages equals 75 XP, and then I think I guess the it's weird. Yeah, let's go. All right, let's keep reading. Next chapter. Exactly. All right, next chapter. Do my timestamp. Let's keep reading. 779. All right, next chapter. All right, next chapter, chapter 779. It's called One Shot. Ooh, that's a good song, bro. Have you guys heard of that Eminem song? That shit will pump me up at the gym. The 3 types of paper in layman's travels clearly had different textures. The white paper that could only record. Why can't I say the word record? Record sequence 7, 8, and 9 powers was thin, smooth, and flat. The yellowish-brown goatskin, which could record sequence 5 and sequence 6 powers, were very pliable, like tanned leather. The 3 charred yellow pages that record godhood powers were thick in texture. Together, they allowed someone to quickly distinguish between them simply from the touch. Okay, so it's easier to pick a sequence spell. Klein's fingers quickly found the thick and textured 3 pages as he gently pinched the middle page. Although his pocket wasn't large enough, preventing him from fully opening in layman's travels, the hooded row was personally modified by Force herself. The pocket had plenty of space, allowing the palm-sized spellbook to be flipped to a right angle. As Klein used his palm to prevent layman's travels from closing, he used his fingers slide across the corresponding page surface. The surface has slight bumps and depressions, making the strange patterns and symbols that were filled with mystery and ancient vibes be directly present in his mind. He injected his spirituality into it. This charred yellow page recorded the demigod power of the Storm Pathway Hurricane. Klein wanted to use it to create chaos so as to interfere with the Aura Order Saint who was lurking in the darkness. By doing so, he could seize the opportunity to assassinate Mr. X and escape with the help of the wind. Aside from this goal, the Chaos could also effectively hide his tracks by letting the members of the Gathering scatter and everyone's identity being a mystery. Doing so made everyone be a suspect. The Aurora Order would find it difficult to pinpoint Shio. As his thoughts whirled, Klein locked his gaze onto Spot and he slowly pulled out Layman's Travels. Meanwhile, Mr. X took 2 steps to Klein's side, standing near him like he was a friend he hadn't seen in years. No shot. Following that, there was a loud buzz as the terrifying hurricane sprawled out of control in front of everybody. It was where Klein had targeted his spirituality at. The tables, coffee tables, sofa, and the high-back chairs in his room flew up as violent hurricanes ripped through the walls, carrying the roof away as they headed for the alley. Some of the gathering participants were in the way of the hurricane and were thrown far away, while others fell forward due to the wind pressure as they ran in that direction. If Klein hadn't purposely controlled the timing and direction of the hurricane, not only would Mr. X's old house be destroyed, but even the series of condominiums around it would suffer damage. As for the gathering participants, they would have been swept up in the hurricane, having their survival depend solely on luck. The buzzing sounds quickly intensified as the hurricane they reached into the sky was like a terrifying giant. It stopped across the alley towards the street, leaving nothing behind in its wake. Klein was similarly swept up as he possessed Mr. X were thrown onto another street. And during this process, as both of them were standing close to one another along with a wraith that could float, these could control the target's bodies to a certain extent even with a hurricane. Therefore, the distance between Klein and Mr. X ultimately stayed within 5 meters. 15 feet? He controlled the spirit body thread that he had never been terminated. In mid-air, with the howling winds in his ear, Klein suddenly yanked at his chest with his right hand, carrying away the hooded robe surface, reaching under his arm and drew Death Knell. Although Mr. X's current state, where just air bullets along with him finish him off, Klein decided to be cautious. He was afraid that certain mystical items on his body would suddenly be triggered, just like Admiral Bloodsinner's necklace. So he's trying to be careful. When hunting, it was necessary to do this best. Klein vigorously's action of drawing his revolver had obviously affected his control of the spirit by the threads. If it wasn't because Mr. X was on the brink of being fully controlled, just this alone was enough to recover his usual lucidness. However, even so, Mr. X's thoughts were no longer impeded as his mind sped up. He attempted to resist, but with Rafe Sinner's possession, it had forced his efforts to be vain for a brief moment. Then Mr. X's eyes reflected an enemy who swamped downwards. It was a thin face purred with facial lines. In his vision, the person coldly cocked the revolver, pointed the black barrel at him. Bang. One shot. No way. Klein didn't hesitate to pull the trigger as the gunshot was drowned by the howling wind, so no one heard it. This is a setup. Mr. X's head jerked backwards as though an invisible hand had pressed onto it. His head and brass mass shattered into pieces, splattered red and white liquids everywhere. It was a lethal shot. Yo, dude! No way! Deaf Nail had sounded the nail for him. Plop. After the shot, Klein fell to the ground on his back. Oh shit, the recoil was that strong? With a thud, Mr. X landed beside him as the blood and fragments scattered in midair had strangely flowed back, gathering by his neck and forming a head filled with cracks and crevices. This was the ability of a wraith. At that moment, a hurricane was starting to disperse in the huge commotion and undoubtedly caught the notice of the faraway demigods. Inside of the Holy Wind Cathedral, the new Backland Archbishop Deep Blue Officant Randall Valentinus. That's such a mouthful. One more time. Inside the Holy Wind Cathedral, the new Backland Archbishop Deep Blue Officiant Randall Valentinus, damn, that's a Kingdom Hearts name right there, instantly flew out of his room as he floated in the air. All right, I'll send more. Yeah, no, now there's an EXP system for depending on how much we chat. Klein, who had fallen on the ground, noticed that the wind crest had weakened. With Death Note in one hand, Layman's Travels in another hand. He flipped, so he has a book and gun in each hand. He flipped the letter to the first yellowish-brown Gotsun page. After obtaining this spellbook, he realized that there was a few pages recorded in it, one of them being Traveler's Door. Klein originally imagined it was a coincidence, but on careful thought, he found it inevitable. This was because Layman's Travels belonged to the ancient Abraham family. They wielded the apprentice pathway and several corresponding mystical items, so they had the resources to easily record a traveler's powers. After all, this was something very, very useful. At that moment, as long as the Traveler's Door was formed, Klein could leave unharmed. With Mr. X's corpse that was being possessed by Wraith Sinner, he hadn't used it in the building because it was possible the Aurora Order Saint might intercept it. Further, Mr. X was also a traveler. He had a chance of successfully escaping via Traveler's Door, therefore Klein didn't dare risk it before he was completely dead. At that moment, Klein's vision went black as he realized that he was surrounding the streets were filled with pitch black and strange liquids. Oh, Spirit World. They were surging over and quickly congelated to form a strong cage. In such darkness, shadows began to come alive as cold gazes landed on him. Oh, it's not the Spirit World. A demigod's power. The Aurora Order does have a saint nearby. There's no way to directly teleport away. Klein's heart tensed up as he calmly flipped Layman's Travels to a charred yellowish page. Sizzle. As silver python snakes A silver python snaked out of thin air, embroiling itself with the darkness as it illuminated everything. A lightning storm? Is that the Sea God Scepter ability? The lightning storm? The congelated pitch blackness shattered instantly, and without any hesitation, Klein stuffed his Death Knell wielding right hand into his pocket, pinched the dark green stone that was filled with the burn marks. From the bracelet? Door. He he's using the... Okay, he's using the gem from Forest Bracelet. Okay. Door. He chanted an ancient Hermes with an abnormally calm tone. A light blue brilliance burst out of Klein's figure, rapidly turned into a blur. Even Mr. X's corpse, which had come close to grab onto his shoulder, had experienced similar changes. Wait, what? The Death Note? Wait, even Mr. X's corpse, which had come close to grab onto his shoulder, had experienced similar changes. The two figures instantly turned invisible as they... Wait, so he also takes Mr. X's body? The two figures instantly turned invisible as they vanished from the spot. They quickly departed into the spirit world without overlapping saturated colors, pulling off in an ingenious escape. And the shadowy alley with a flattening gathering building which had planks, rubble, clothes, and all kinds of random items strewn all around. Someone harmed? Damn it. At that moment, the other gathering members had already fled the street. From far away in the sky, a sonic boom could be heard. Sonic boom? I understood that Street Fighter ability. Okay. Shio and Forrest, who was searching for the ghosts in Eastboro, were alarmed by the sky suddenly lit up. They hurriedly looked into the distance and saw the silver forest that seemed to bloom like a forest. The twisted form and sense of horror had left them trembling despite the distance. They didn't even dare look straight at it. What happened over there? Shio mumbled as she exchanged looks with Forrest blankly. Forrest actually had a guess, but she found it difficult to believe. This was because it had far exceeded her expectations of the world German hero's strength. In a dark alley, so sick, dude. In a dark alley, Klein appeared out of thin air with Mr. X's corpse as he landed on the ground. He wasn't flustered at all. He kept Death Knell in his pocket and took out another book, Grizel's Travels. Why is he taking that out? Smack. Klein smacked the book written by the Dragon of Imagination and quote onto Mr. X's face. Oh, he's putting him in the book? Staining the cover with blood. Moments later, Mr. X's corpse vanished. What the fuck? That is so sick. Moments later, Mr. X's corpse vanished, leaving behind the Wraith Sinner in his dark red coat and old triangular hat. Right on the heels of that, Klein put away Grizel's Travels, flicking open Layman's Travels, and made another... Dude, this dude... Holy shit, he is so stacked. He is going to be an amazing Lord of Mysteries. He's going to be so... He's so mysterious with all these mystical items. Right on the heels of that, Klein put away Grizel's Travels, flipping open Layman's Travels, and made another charred yellow page face up. Suddenly, a bright light emitted from the book, an illusory as an illusionary angel with 12 wings flew up and landed on Klein, his angel. All of this happened in an instant before darkness returned to the alley. Only the dim moonlight continued illuminating the area silently. Klein immediately took out another metal bottle, poured out the blood stored inside, and unfortunately smeared it across Lehman's travels. After doing all of this, he put away everything else, pulling away the hooded robe and throwing it beside him. A scarlet flame immediately soared up, burning the tattered robe clean. Meanwhile, Klein... So he's... What? Yo, what's up, dude? Long time no see. Meanwhile, Klein instantly grew another 10 centimeters as he transformed into a relatively ordinary appearance. Then he identified his bearings with the help of the stars, and he picked up a fallen branch to assist him as he quickly toured through the dark and deteriorated streets, returning back to the cheap motel. At this point, he still had no idea what additional weaknesses he had been given. Inside the single room in the motel... Oh, you're right, because he gets a random weakness. Ah, yes. I forgot about that. There's always, like, you get a random weakness for, like, a certain amount of time. Inside the single room at that moment, Klein changed into his own clothes, turning back into German Sparrow. Seeing this thin and cold-looking crazy adventure in the mirror, he fell silent for a few seconds, picking up the half-top hat and wearing it. No way, dude. German is back. What's up, dude? Above the flattened building, Church of Storms, Cardinal Backlund, Diocese Archbishop, Deep Blue Officiant Randall Valentius, who had failed in capturing anyone, looked down in silence for an extended period of time. 160 Buckland Street. Upon seeing the visitor outside, Butler Walter asked in surprise, "Your Excellency, why are you settling here? Is there something?" Bishop Electra chuckled and said, "I heard that Dwayne is sick, so I'm here to visit him. Perhaps he will quickly recover under the goddess's blessing." Oh, shit. Oh, he's gone. Love this guy. Dude, it is so crazy. He actually took out Mr. I thought this was going to be like a long, drawn-out fight. It's like... It's crazy how, like, Cuttlefish makes you think this is gonna be, like, a big bad guy fight, and then Klein takes him out, like, almost instantly, dude. And then I'm over here, like, who's the next big bad guy? Like, we're probably gonna fight a King of Angels at the end of this volume. Like, that's, like, at this point, that's the only thing I feel like that can go up against Klein right now. A King of Angels. Oh, hold up, maybe that's too strong. Like a sequence 3 guy. Like, it has to be a high... Like, he has to go up against, like, a sequence 4 or 5 Beyonder now. Klein 2 OP? Bro, it's not... Oh, my God. I'm, like, actually God. Like, now he actually has to fight a God. Like, it's crazy how strong he's getting, dude. All right, let's just go straight into the next chapter. Let's keep reading. Let's fucking keep reading. It's so wild, dude. How strong he gets, dude. Let me do my timestamp. Extract. Fuck, dude, now we're doing an extract mission, or an extraction mission. 23 minutes, 19 seconds. Let me sip my coffee. Hope you guys are having a good day. I think you're glazing too much. I can't, dude. There's no shot I'm glazing. Bro, chilling. Like, dude, it's like, it's crazy. I don't even, bro, I'm keeping it a $150. I don't even think I'm glazing him that strong. He's just actually that fucking strong. And he's only, well, hold up. He did have a lot of, like, it just... It's not only him being a Sequence 5 Marionettist that makes him so strong. It's all these other items and, like, the Gray Fog and, like, it's like him being the... I always say unironically so much. Him being the fool is what makes him so strong. Do you think 100 of you could beat Klein in a pure hand fight, no Marionettist? I'd fucking lose in a heartbeat. Man, I'm so out of shape. He'd mess me up, man. Klein is very strong, dude, and he's only Sequence 5. I can just imagine how like crazy it's gonna be when he hits Sequence 4. Like when he hits I was gonna say JoJo's Bizarre. When he hits Bizarre Sorcerer, it's gonna be crazy, dude. Marionette, X-Rave Deadly. It's such a fucking crazy ass combo. It's like it's like you possess, it's like you're controlling like one marionette and then that Wraith is controlling somebody else. It's like it's fucking sick, dude. It's like there's different layers to the controlling. No, he can only use air bullets and win. Dude, like all he needs is one solid air bullet. Damn. All right, next chapter, man. Next chapter. All right, chapter 780. After we glazed Klein for like 5 minutes straight. Extract. Walter came to the third story and rapped onto the master bedroom door. Who is it? Dwayne Dante's slightly weak and hoarse voice sounded. Oh, a Rhodes. I forgot. He's not even home, but no, a Rhodes is there. Wait, hold up. Let me change the music. Fight's over. The fight ended so quickly that this track only looped like twice. That's crazy. Man, the fight was so quick. We only heard walls closing in on loop twice, dude. Who is it? Dwayne Dante's slightly weak and hoarse voice sounded. Walter turned the doorknob, opened a tiny crack in the door. Sir, Bishop Electra is here to visit you. Do you wish to meet him in the living room or the activity room, or should he be invited directly to the bedroom? Do I have my timestamp? 780? Yes. Should he be invited into the bedroom? Usually visitors weren't permitted to enter the bastard bedroom. This was rather impolite, but visiting the sick was an exception. After a brief silence, Dwayne Dantes replied, invite him into the bedroom. All right, sir. As Walter gestured Richardson to urge a maid to prepare some tea, he walked down and invited Bishop Electra of the Church of the Evernight up. Soon Electra entered the bedroom and saw Dwayne Dantes lying in bed, looking haggard. Richardson get the bishop a seat. The pale Dwayne Dantes said with a smile, as I raised the volume up a little bit more. Get him a seat. Or no, get Electra a seat, right? Get a seat, the pale Dwayne Dantes said with a smile. Richardson has already done so. He immediately moved a high back chair to a spot near the bed. However, Electra took a few steps forward to observe the new tycoon in the town as he asked in turn, Dwayne, how are you? Did you consult a physician? His spiritual perception wasn't triggered, so he didn't make any attempts. He was only visiting a pious believer out of concern. Dwayne Dantes coughed lightly and smiled. This chapter was funny? Really? I'm actually almost recovered. I believe I'll be able to head over to church tomorrow or a day after tomorrow to listen to your preachings. That's good. Oh, that's good. I was wondering if I needed to pray the goddess to bless you. Electra chuckled and took a step. Dang, she's like, I'm trying to get more money out of you. I was wondering if I need to pray to the goddess to bless you. Electra chuckled and took a step back before sitting on the chair which Richardson had brought to him. At that moment, Dwayne Dantes glanced at the bishop and chuckled. Actually, I've always had a question. As clergymen of the Church of Goddess allowed to get married? Electra, who was 2 years short of reaching 40, sighed and smiled. This question has actually troubled us for a long period of time. In ancient times, the archbishops had engaged in intense debates about this on several theosophical meetings. One side believed that the servants of the goddess need to maintain their purity, but be it man or woman, otherwise it would be sacrilegious. The other side found the words from the goddess in the revelation of the Evernight and the other books, believing that the goddess encouraged marriage. She encouraged equality between both sexes and for them to have normal contact. Hence, clergymen should be an example of this and not to be negative examples. By doing so, that would be the greatest respect towards the goddess. In recent times, this question had basically been shelved. The church doesn't ban or encourage it. They only request is to get that married clergymen on not to let their families live in cathedrals. Dwayne Dantes nodded slowly as he curled the corners of his lips. Your Excellency, do you have a wife? Ooh. Although Bishop Electra was thin and not very good looking, he was pleasant to the eyes. He sighed and said, hardly hiding the smile, 2 years ago, I walked down the aisle under the goddess's watch. I happen to have a child this year. I originally imagined that I would remain single my entire life in order to serve the goddess. But yo, what's up, D? Long time no see, dude. And sorry, it was like a random unannounced stream. I apologize. It's been kind of like that this week, huh? As he spoke, he gave a self-deprecating laugh and shook his head. Without waiting for Dwayne Dantes to probe deeper, Electra asked, you seem to be single as well. Are you considering the problem of marriage? He seemed to imagine that Dwayne Dantes had such thoughts, and he directly asked. Imagine the answer was certain as he continued. What kind of lady do you like? Perhaps I might be able to help introduce you to someone. Dwayne Dantes coughed lightly and said with a smile, I often choose adventurers to amass wealth in the past, so I wasn't willing to get married. After, I would drag her down. I like my types of woman. I am not that picky. I like those older than me. I like those older than me. One who can give me warmth and make me feel at ease. Damn. Okay. What's up, dude? Before he finished, his valet Richardson wore a stunned expression. He early turned his head aside and lowered it. He felt his face burning for some baffling reason. Is he blushing? His butler's blushing. Dwayne Dantes didn't seem to sense it as he continued. I also like those younger than me, those who are pure and lively, making anyone who sees them feel as though it's dawn because of the radiance they aren't aware of. Bishop Electra's face suddenly froze as he raised his palm and clenched into a fist as he held it into his mouth and coughed twice. Yet Dwayne Dantes didn't stop. He shook his head and said in a deep sigh, he likes everyone. I also like those who are once in love or were married so that people wouldn't dare approach due to their status, women who can only be viewed from afar. They are so charming that each action of theirs are so intoxicating and irresistible. He's also dreaming of the married woman. What? The sacrilegious right there. What? Butler Walter, who was standing nearby, trembled. He felt as though he had experienced a dream that he didn't wish to wake up from, despite opposing it greatly. He had no idea if it was a good or bad dream. He's like, yo, man, my guy is crazy. This guy is crazy. Dwayne Dantes was about to continue to describe further, but he started producing any sound of opening. Now I can see why you guys said this chapter is funny. Holy shit. He's like, I like all types of women. Fucking Dwayne, dude. This is such a funny persona. Dwayne Dantes was about to continue to describe further, but he started producing any sounds after opening his mouth. He then chuckled softly. Told you, dude, this is the funniest chapter. I got a tear in my eye. That's all very normal. When humans are at their limits and are under the influence of their senses, they often have some abnormal thoughts. Dwayne is like, that is the least abnormal thought I've had all day. As long as they're repressed while acting in line with one's will, it wouldn't feel like torture. One would still be a husband, a good father, a good man. That's very reasonable. When I'm incensed, I often have irrational thoughts, but few people return to them in reality. Bishop Electra ingeniously changed the subject. As for the butler, Walter and Villette Richardson, they revealed looks of contemplation. The bishop didn't stay long. After drinking a few sips of the Marquise black tea that the maid had delivered, he got up and bade farewell, leaving Dwayne Dante's residence. The room quickly turned quiet as the window and balcony silently opened. Klein, who had changed back into Dwayne Dante's, agilely leaped inside. Thankfully, I returned in time. If I allowed Rhodes to continue speaking, Bishop Electra would probably renounce a pious believer like me. Perhaps I'll even discover Walton Richardson hanging from the rooms tomorrow morning, and that the streets would have rumors of Dwayne Dantes being a pervert. Klein looked at the fake Dantes on the bed and sighed silently. The final response had been personally formulated by him, and he got a Rhodes to read it. Of course, it was his contingency plan for the worst possible scenario. He had believed that a Rhodes wouldn't have made the situation develop that far. Welcome back, great master. The Dwayne Dantes in bed bowed and greeted. Did your loyal and humble servant Rhodes do well? I think he did really good. Who do you think is the most powerful person we have actually met? Damn. I think right now it's Zik. I really feel like Zik is the strongest character right now. I'm pretty sure it's Zik. I'm pretty sure Zik is the strongest character we've known so far. And like he hasn't really like fought all out, except that he did fight at the end of Volume 2. Yo, what's up, OG? What's up, dude? I'm not gonna say long time no see. You were here yesterday, but I know it was a random stream. I think Zik might be the strongest character we've met so far. Hearing the mirror stammer the question. If you guys have other thoughts, let me know. But that's what I'm thinking off the top of my head. Hearing the mirror stammer the question, Klein sighed and said, "It's still all right. You did pretty good. However, try to agitate others were chatting. I will take note." The fake Dwayne Dantes rapidly vanished as a small mirror appeared on the pillow. Above the mirror, silver lights bloom as words appeared. OG is going to kick me out of the top 3 XP. I know you were here too yesterday, dude. I know, I saw you guys. Thank you for your affirmation. I will continue following in your footsteps. I look forward to being a service to you the next time. After a goodbye expression was sketched out, the mirror returned normal. Klein went close to it and put away the mirror before entering the bathroom attached to the master bedroom. He took 4 steps counterclockwise and headed above the gray fog. He wanted to complete the grazing before Mr. X's spirit body dispersed. The grazing before Mr. X's spirit body dispersed. In the book world, inside a cave on a snow-laden mountain peak, Klein looked at Mr. X's corpse and carefully identified the head that had been pierced to... Oh shit, yeah, he got a headshot. Had been pieced together from the wait, what? And carefully identified the head that had been pieced together from the fragments. He matched it with his memories of the target's picture with Miss Magician had provided. I'm sorry, he pieced it together again? How? It's him. I hope I'll obtain traveling and record. With them, I will make a killing with this operation. Otherwise, I'll have to consider getting Miss Magician to pay more. The difficulty between hunting a Sequence 5 and that of facing a demigod are 2 completely different matters. As Klein thought, he reached out of his left palm and spread open his fingers, aiming at the corpse whose spirituality hadn't completely dispersed. Creeping hunger quickly transformed back into its... Oh, there you go. Grazing. He was grazing him with creeping hunger. Creeping hunger quickly transformed... I'm like, that's not a death knell ability. Creeping hunger quickly transformed back into its original form, looking as though it was made of thin human skin. 2 eyes split open in the middle of its palm. 2 eyes? Wait, it's always been a mouth. It's a reasonable matter. So are the eyes new? Because it's always only been a mouth. Now it has eyes. 2 eyes split open in the middle of its palm. Its pupils were bright red, as though they were dyed in blood. This is new. It's always been a mouth. Amidst a cold and eerie wind, Mr. X significantly dispersed spirit body is resplendent beyond specks of the light that resemble the Milky Way drilled into creeping hunger, fixing onto a blank finger. Still only 3 likes on stream. I know. It was last minute. No, it's okay, dude. Creeping hunger first turned transparent as if it was a shadow of the spirit world before returning to normal. Klein closed his eyes and sensed that it as his brows gradually eased, a smile surfaced on his face. His luck was pretty good that the time had been drawn out of the beyonder powers he wanted, the most traveler's door. Now, I want to know what it does. It could also be called the door teleportation, or traveling. Its effect was to I almost spilled my coffee. Its effect was to allow a person to traverse the spirit world while sensing the external world. Beyonders of different sequences could endure traveling for different periods of time due to the differences in the spirit body potency. This made the effects of the spirit world traveling and the distance difficult. If they sequence 9 or 8, they wouldn't be able to go beyond Backland. With my present level, I wonder if I can directly head to the primitive island, which I was wondering how this whole time, how the hell is Klein supposed to help Olger on that island back out at sea? But now that he has his freaking ability from Mr. X, he can just use Creeping Hunger to get there. What? There's no shot. If it doesn't work, I can split it into a few trips. Of course it's gonna work. Klein thought as he smiled. At this point, he realized that a traveler's strength and his head-on combat was very powerful. This is because the difficulty in using short distances traveling was about the same as flaming jump. This also meant that a traveler could keep phasing around the target, opening up and narrowing the distances as he pleased. This is, bro, I'm dropping fast. Bro is becoming OP. Dude, it's crazy, dude. That is crazy. He came, he saw, he recorded. Holy shit. That's actually what he did. I lost my place. This would catch people by surprise. This is like the door from One Piece. Actually, no, it's more broken than that. This would catch people by surprise while also preventing them from inflicting a successful blow. Furthermore, if plenty of powers were recorded in the vigilance that accompanies immediately departed once something felt amiss, Klein suspected that even with lightning storm and hurricane, he had no way of restraining a traveler in direct combat. Indeed, a marionette should try to hide behind the shadows. As Klein thought poignantly, he cast his eyes on Mr. X's corpse. Creeping Hunger had also obtained another beyond power. What else did he get now? It was door opening of the apprentice sequence. It was equivalent to a very weakened version of traveling and was of little use. Oh, it's a little value. Okay, but the other one is better. Turning his gaze, Klein's eyes noticed the ruby ring on Mr. X's hand. What? What's with the ring? Oh, wait, we're going to find out. There's a negative effect. Wait, what was that, Kemi? Did you catch before that it's a road saying what kind of woman the others... No, I know. Yeah, so it was a road saying what kind of woman he wants. But then Klein put that last piece, like that was his, like he put that himself, right? The last part that Erode said was him. Yeah, at first I was like, damn, what a freaking like character that Klein make. But no, it was Erode that said that. New drip for Klein? Not the woman Erode's like? No. I thought, so Erode's was the one that made that up, right? No? Well, here, let me change this in the meantime. So I thought Erode's was winging that. It was the woman, Bishop, and the servants like. Oh. That was a part of Rhodes made up. Still, man, that show was fucking funny, dude. It was like so left field, dude. Like that whole conversation just fucking came out of nowhere, dude. That show's fucking funny, dude. All right. Oh! Oh! Is that what that was? Wait, I didn't catch that. I didn't catch that. Rhodes was saying what the people in the room like. That's why they were all ashamed. I thought they were all just lowering their heads because they were embarrassed. Like, wow, man, Dwayne is kind of crazy. Oh, shit, you're right. Creeping Hunger is so OP. Imagine Shepard, bro. Shepard ain't got nothing now. Yeah, that's why that's why everybody was weirded out because Rhodes was just saying what they like. Oh, okay. Dude, I'm sorry. Before I read, so much is happening now. Klein can now literally just go wherever he wants with traveling. Creeping Hunger is going to be so beneficial to him for traveling and going around the world. So, like, I guess he can now travel as Gerben Sparrow and go help out Olger on his own little quest on that small random island. Well, not random island. Shit's probably going to go down there. And now it's like he's so strong. He has so many abilities to aid him in strength, agility, mobility, mystery. Oh my god, it's so good, man. It is such a goated series. But they left the stream. Oh really? Oh well, hey, if you guys are in the stream for the 25 people, make sure you guys like the stream. That way more people see and tune in. Chapter 781, please and thank you. Chapter 781 is called Negative Effect. Creeping Hunger is a sealed artifact from the Shepherd Pathway. It's such a good ability, man. Like Creeping Hunger, I remember when I thought that Creeping Hunger was like one part of the Exodius piece, and then once you put all the pieces together, you'd have like Death's armor or something. Gonna get a small pizza. BRB, yo, bro, you better send a picture in Discord. By the way, join our Discord, guys. But once you get that pizza, you better show us how good that pizza looks in general. You better add everyone, man. Chapter 781 is called Negative Effects. After staring at Mr. X's corpse, and when you send that, show us so we can show it on stream. After staring, I'm joking, Cammy. No pressure. After staring at Mr. X's corpse for a while, Klein held back the urge to personally dig through his pockets for spoils of war. He made Ref Senor take 2 steps and retrieve the ruby ring. This way, even if Mr. X carried an item with unimaginable negative effects, it would be endured by the marionette and not affect himself. After some careful inspection, Sinart held the ruby ring, 48 pounds in cash, and an ordinary pipe filled with tobacco and walked back. That's all. An Oracle of the Aurora Order only has this much. Klein was rather surprised at this scene as he nearly cursed Popper at him. Popper. A very poor person. Oh, I didn't know what that was. That was so long ago. Yeah, it wasn't long. Wasn't that theory on like volume 1? Yeah, dude. I'm pretty sure we said that in like volume 1 or at the beginning of volume 2, because it ends with a Zik taking Creeping Hunger. I'm like, oh, that's his first piece to reclaiming all his memories. Soon he recovered his calm and used his reasoning to convince himself that such a situation was very reasonable. Mr. X is a traveler. He can record the beyond powers of others. He's considered an all-rounder. Even as such a powerhouse, I think Klein is going to be like the ultimate all-rounder beyonder once he becomes high sequence. Even if such a powerhouse were to have other mystical items, he would tend to record them and not carry them around. This way, he could enjoy the benefits of the powers without suffering from negative effects that can prevent himself from killing himself. Using this line of thought, the effects of the ring was likely to be passive or triggered. With this in mind, Klein nodded gently. He made Center carry Mr. X cracked. I thought he was eating like salted crackers, and it said crackers. Bro, don't do it, Bullseye. Mr. X, cracked and sticky, had possessed him and returned above the gray fog. Sitting behind the full seat, he was no longer afraid of anything. He directly took the ruby ring and used the method of divination in order to determine the actual effects of the mystical item. Its name is Flower of Bed. It allows the word to control their body at a deeper level, as long as they don't suffer from the instant death or are completely purified, hence losing the ability to control it. They will be able to slowly recover. This is equivalent to an instinct, a passive effect. Wait, now there's abilities that are passive effects in the series? From the looks of it, my choice of delivering a lethal strike with Death Knell was the correct one. If I hadn't used all my might, Mr. X might not have actually died. He would then be able to use the extreme pain to awaken himself and escape the control of a marionettist. Oh. He had also considered his weakness of being more of a spellcaster and having a body that was insufficient in strength. This ring has flesh magic to a certain degree. It's quite useful. As Klein held a ruby ring, he wrapped the edge of the model table and muttered silently. He then began probing the Flower of Blood's negative effects. Nearly a minute later, Klein opened his eyes and left the room. Oh, come on. This, he muttered as he wore a twisted look. Of a dream divination, he had interpreted the Flower of Blood's negative effects. It involved randomly making the wearer lose all rationale and the ability to think. Great, this is in line with the true creator. Klein couldn't help but grit his teeth. But I feel like he'd be used to this by now. A negative effect that was completely random meant that the Flower of Death Knell had no way to be used. Thinking back to the scene from before, Klein muttered to himself in an amused and peeved manner, Mr. X actually dared to wear such a ring. That's right, people who change their faith to the true creator often don't have any facility to think. In that case, wearing such a ring wouldn't make them worse. Wait, but the fact that Klein can now like graze or steal someone's fate, I feel like this ring would be good for him. Losing rationale isn't losing reason. It wouldn't. So if he like if you're stealing someone's fate and then you're enhancing your own fate, I think it'll be good. Losing rationale isn't losing reason. It wouldn't be as bad as suddenly hurting others, but clearly he wouldn't be very rigid and foolish of acting only on instinct all might. Few Klein heaved a sigh of relief. He decided to throw the Flower of Blood into the junk pile and not vex over it. From his point of view, it was a piece of crap that he couldn't use, nor was anyone willing to buy it unless he sold it to the Aurora Order. However, that would only make the true creator very happy. At that moment, he caught sight of Admiral Blood Center, who was standing beside him through the corner of his eyes. Klein's heart stirred as he clapped. Why didn't I think of that? Oh! Wait, because Senor's already... Whoa! Wait, he's going to be able to enhance... Wait, I never thought about that. You can just give mystical items to your marionette. And then that way, you also get stronger. Why didn't I think of that? I might not be able to use it, but I can let my marionette use it. After all, he's dead and he follows all my instructions. He doesn't need to think. Admiral Blood, Flower Blood, it's designed to be a pair. Admiral of Blood. How fitting. Everyone's stuck at 75 right now. Admiral of Blood, Flower of Blood, it's a destined to be a pair. What a coincidence. Although Center has lost his control over his body because he's dead, I can provide that. This way he can still be fixed even if he can't phase into a Wraith in time, or if his body or his zombie body isn't strong enough to withstand a blow, causing him to lose a limb or two. Of course, to a marionette, that's a marionettist, that's not important, as though it doesn't affect his instinct character. The main goal is to obtain the additional flesh magic. A few seconds later, a delighted Klein made Sinner pick up the ruby ring and wear it on his left index finger. After doing this, Klein made the Wraith return to the gold coin before he raised his left palm and spread the fingers. He wanted to release the interrogator from creeping hunger. This was a promise he had made a very long time ago. This was the last spirit body that had been grazed when he received creeping hunger. It was time to set him free. Amidst an indistinct cold wind, a blurry soul appeared beside the bronze table. Now, what is he going to tell him? He was a man in a Navy uniform. He was in his 30s and had the rank of commander. He had brown whiskers on his painful and dazed face. What's your name? How did Quillingus kill you? Klein asked in a deep voice. The man jolted from his reverie and answered, my name is Andy Hayden, the second mate of the Enment. Wasn't Enment Harbor a place? The second mate of the Enment. I died at the battle at sea. No, I didn't die immediately. I was captured by the Facesacian. I was captured by the Facesacian before I entered the glove of yours. I do not know of a Quillingus, much less have heard of him. This interrogator was already inside the glove when Quillingus obtained creeping hunger. Oh, this was before him. Just watch me. As psychic piercing is very useful, he didn't switch it. I wonder who the previous owner of the creeping hunger was. Klein asked with a piqued interest. Who was the Facesacian who caught Facesacian who caught you? What does he look like? Andy Hayden thought seriously and said, I don't know his name. I only remember his epaulet was that of a captain. I remember that he had a big, impressionable nose. I remember his eyes were blue and his hair was close to blonde. He was almost 2 meters tall. Such people from Facek are common. Other than his identity as a captain, Klein considered for a moment and said, which year did you die? Andy Hayden figure slowly dispersed away and finally said, 1338. Whoa. That's 12 years ago, huh? Vice Admiral Blood, Hurricane Quillingus, got famous less than 10 years ago. That captain might already be an admiral. Klein gently nodded and discovered that he had failed to ask if Andy Hayden had any last wishes. Forget it, setting him free is already a good deed. Klein quickly threw the matter to the back of his mind as he conjured the world German Sparrow. Please inform Miss Magician that Mr. X, Lewis Wayne, is dead. Please get her to take a receipt of the item in the spellbook. I requested from her when I need it again. An endless gray fog filled For's eyes as the world German Sparrow's words emotionally rang in his ears. Although she was already prepared for this piece of news, she still found it unbelievable and unacceptable. Just say it however you can. Never pronounce things wrong. It's evolution. True. That is true indeed. What's up, guys? He really succeeded. That storm in the East Border was created by him. Forrest held down the upheaval in her heart. Taking advantage of the silent night, he set up a bestowment ritual in her bedroom. Before long, the candlelight and spirituality item created an illusory door. 2 items flew out and landed gently on the table. When Forrest took a careful look, she nearly screamed as she hurriedly covered her mouth. She took 2 steps back and kept close to the wall of spirituality. One of the items was the layman's travels, while the other item was a hideous head covered in cracks. Is it his head? It was stained with blood, as if they had pieced together. It seemed to shimmer with what appeared like reflected light. He just fucking throws the head at her. As a graduate of med school and having worked as a doctor at a well-known clinic, Forrest had seen her fair share of corpses, but never had seen such a disgusting, creepy, and terrifying head. After composing himself, Forrest looked at the head again, identifying it to be Lewis Wayne. She carefully used astromacy to make the final confirmation. Following that, she muttered with a slight twisted expression. Mr. World shattered the target's head and then pieced them back together. At that moment, Forrest couldn't help but a scene surface in her mind. It was of the cold German sparrows sitting in front of a table, piercing together the bloody head fragments together, as though seriously putting a jigsaw puzzle together. Holy shit, that's so twisted when you put it that way. Moving her gaze away, she took 2 steps forward and picked up the layman's travels and casually flipped through it. Her gaze gradually flows because there were more spells in the spellbook, most of them seemingly related to the wind and lightning. Let me see with a chat. Wait. This made her recall the lightning storm that quickly passed in Eastborough. She was convinced that it was created by Mr. World. Forge hurriedly flipped the 3 charted yellow pages in Layman Travels and found them blank. She immediately had a guess, believing that the world government Sparrow had lightly gained Mr. Fool's help to record beyond her powers at the demigod level. I just realized that if I have enough money and resources, I can hire the Terror Club members to help me record different beyond her powers. Exactly. This way, Layman's Travels will become extremely powerful, but I don't have the money or resources. Huh? I can request for a reward from the teacher this time. I can say that I paid quite a price to help seek revenge for him. Force thought as first thing Mr. Fool before asking him to pass on the message to the world. I'm very sorry that my payment isn't proportionate to the difficulty of the mission. After I receive the reward, I will provide compensation. After the prayer, Force ended the ritual and hurriedly hid the head. If she'll discover this, she'll definitely imagine a horror story. After she's like, I'm using it to study for another book I'm making. After she was done, Force clapped her hands and asked leisurely. When Force replied, Klein had already returned to the real world. All he heard was a vague female's voice. But even so, he couldn't help but fear and horror felt. This was because Death Knell had given an addition weakness, the fear of woman. Dude. Bro, thank you. He has a fear of women. What the fuck? Death Knell gave him the fear of woman. Dude, thank you so much, dude. Oh my god. Dude, man, you guys don't have to, man. Like, that's optional, man. If you don't have the money, save it, man. But he's number one. But thank you, dude. Thank you, OG. Thank you, guys. No, man, really, man. Thank you. Fuck, man. I wish I could do this full time, man. It'd be so fun to just do YouTube full time. He bought the rank 1. Oh, you can just buy rank 1? Everyone's like, shit. He's like, that ain't fair. Thank you, man. If it doesn't look like it, if it doesn't look like I'm being thankful, I am. Just number 2. Thank you, guys. Let me update this. It's crazy, man. I never thought I'd be like streaming. Like, it still hasn't really hit. It is worth a lot more than what currency is that? Which one is the second currency? The bidding war? Dude, you know what's crazy? I remember watching a Mori stream years ago. It actually turned into a fucking bidding war. It's like, it was going so fast, bro. Like, rather than chat spamming, it was just donations just going in. And she was like, what the fuck is going on? Rupee? Oh, that's rupees? Oh. I'm Thursday, boy. Thank you, guys. Holy shit, man. Thank you. All right, let's do the next part right here. This is updated. Let me do my timestamp. 48 minutes. And 49 seconds. Holy shit, man. That's fucking crazy. Paste. All right, you guys ready? Next chapter. All right, next chapter. You guys ready? Chapter 782. It's called Saturday Night. Ooh, Saturday night. I am going to a party. So I'll make sure to stream Saturday morning. On Saturday morning, on Saturday morning, we're also going to be streaming. Look at that. What a coincidence. On Saturday morning, Klein, who was wearing pajamas, rubbed his head and... I can't picture him in pajamas like that. Who was wearing pajamas, rubbed his head and got out of bed. He didn't sleep well, as different women would inevitably enter his dreams, scaring... Oh, even in his dreams, he's scared of women. Scaring him awake, he needed to spend several seconds to calm his emotions before returning to sleep again. Thankfully, this weakness only lasts 6 hours. That's your whole sleep time right there. On Built Div, what's up, guys? Dude, there's so much purple on screen. I gotta get used to that. I've overtaken. Oh shit, yeah, you guys did. Looks like it's in an hour. Yeah, you're now number 2. Oh snap, so it does go up and down. Thankfully, this weakness only lasts 6 hours, and there's no need for me to head out in the middle of the night. I didn't have to face the maids. Klein sighed as he pulled the rope beside his bed. Richardson, who was being waited outside, immediately entered with clothes as his employer needed to wear. I have no idea what a road said. Richardson seems to try to avoid me when facing me. Was it the kind of ladies he mentioned he likes? And that it happens to also be at odds with how society views it. Klein happened to only hear the magic mirror mention the kind of woman that Butler Walter liked. When he rushed back, he wasn't sure what had happened prior to that. He didn't use dream divination to obtain the corresponding information, and he didn't feel that it was necessary. After all, Richardson's personality, he wouldn't have the courage to take away the action, and no matter what he liked, and wouldn't have any additional effects. After changing into his clothes, Klein headed to the second story and walked to the dining room. Walter was wearing white gloves as usual, waiting by his entrance. Upon seeing Dwayne Danton's approach, he took a step forward and bowed politely. Good morning, sir. You have 2 lessons today. In the evening, you will be participating in the banquet at Mr. Portland's Moments Place. Portland moment lived at 100 Buckland Street. He was a full-time professor at the Buckland University Department of the Engineering, a fellow of the Loin Kingdom Imperial Science Institute, and he discovered a few metal alloys. He had received the Light of Machinery Award, and he was just second to people like Turani von Helmosen in the world of academics. I read that right? Right? Furthermore, the few metal alloys were widely used in ship and steam engine constructions. Just the licensing patient was enough to make a tycoon with a wealth of hundreds of thousands of pounds. Upon hearing Walter, Klein casually glanced at him, realizing that he had some dark eye circles. His eye bags were a little puffy, making him look different from usual. It was as though he hadn't slept well this entire night. If not for a faceless powers, Dwayne Dantes would probably look at him. Klein retracted his gaze in pity and didn't speak further. As he nodded gently in response to Walter's greetings, he entered the dining room hall. To be honest, Klein was rather impressed with him. He was able to hold back his fantasies and stop himself from approaching her to seek out pleasure. Despite frequently meeting a demoness, all he did was have wet dreams that included the target when alone at night. Oh, okay. One had to know that a demoness, especially one who was in the midst of having passed the pleasure sequence, had a charm that far exceeded Beyonder's effects towards males. Every action was filled with a charm that made any man who came close to them feel intoxicated and lost. It was like consuming opioids and gradually developing into something more serious, to the point of not being able to extract oneself from the pleasure given by a demoness. Perhaps only gay men could effectively resist such charms. Oh. Of course, Klein suspected... Oh, so if you're not into women, they're like, you wouldn't be affected by a demoness. Oh, shit. So that would be a way to counter a demoness. Like, if you're not attracted to females, then you would be able to counteract that. Of course, Klein... I never thought about that. Of course, Klein suspected that gay men were not immune to it either. Okay, I'm wrong. This was because one's mind and hormones wouldn't be affected, creating changes that originally didn't exist. Furthermore, a large number of demonesses were men to begin with. This lowered one's psychological resistance, and precisely because of this, even though he was a Sequence 5 Beyonder, Klein had to constantly maintain a high-strung state when facing demonesses like Trissy and Tracy. He was afraid that any mishap might cause him to be charmed. Are you attracted to females? Of course. Even he, I've been dating my girl for a long time. What do you mean? Hold up. Whenever I say it ain't that bad, I'm talking in Lord of Mystery terminology, okay? Even he wasn't immune to such effects, much less an ordinary person like Butler Walter. This wasn't something that willpower alone could resist, although perhaps being a result of Prince Etzik's death or her own was advancement. Tricia was clearly able to rein in her charms. Walter was only an ordinary person, huh? Even if he is one, he's at best a Sequence 9 or 8. For him to maintain his present state implies that he's strong of his self-restraint. He's very loyal to Prince Etzik, and I still find it crazy how she's trying to avenge Prince Etzik. What do you mean, huh? What do you mean, dude? He's very loyal to Prince Etzik, and he loves his no neighboring pathways will go to. Wife and daughter. As Klein sighed, he sat back down. Breakfast today was his favorite Desi pie. I wanna have Desi pie now. I wanna look up if there's ingredients on this. The oil that effused out of it made him salivate. I'm salivating now. The sea late at night was nearly black as it was faintly dyed with the silver of the crimson red. It was calmer and quieter than the day. The blue Avenger was ebbed up and down in the waves of the like a ghost as it cursed towards the crimson moon. Olga Wilson stood at the bow looking far away at the waves. On the surface he appeared stayed as usual, but deep down he could hardly hold back his agitation. Ahead of him was the Abyss Maelstrom north of the Sonia Island. As it was dangerous vortex that was famous for appearing without any signs, no ship was willing to enter these dangerous waters. After delivering the report and leaving Pazu Island, Olga commanded the Blue Avenger all the way north, where they circled around the Sonia Island and headed for the sea. Midway, they had docked at the harbor for resupplies without wasting any more time. As for whether he would be suspected for heading north, Olga wasn't worried. This was because the Church of the Storms was happy to have its captains head north of the Sonia Sea and the Fog Sea in order to obtain the intel on the Phasic Empire, Intis Kingdom, Church of the Eternal Blazing Sun, and the Church of God's Combat. Looking back at the ship, Olga walked deck side, took out a charm made of tin, held it in his palm, and chanted the incantation storm. A blue flame sword... Storm? We appreciate the pathway easy? We apprentice pathway easy? Wait, what do you guys mean? Wait, I don't get that. Wait, I don't get the joke. Wait, we apprentice pathway easy? Wait, I don't get the joke. A blue flame soared and devoured the charm. Olga suddenly sensed a baffling affinity with all his fish in the ocean behind him. At that instant, both parties were able to communicate at the psyche level. Well, apprentice pathway is just too OP. It is pretty strong. Like, now that he can, like, now now with those abilities that he has in Creeping Hunger, now he's even more of an all-rounder Beyonder. The tin charm was one of the items he had obtained from the resupply at Pazu Island, allowing him to have an affinity with the undersea creatures, providing a crude level of psychic communication with him. Amidst his thoughts, Alger didn't think of obtaining any item. All he did was wait for the Blue Avenger to approach the Abyss Maelstrom and make a second attempt. Seconds turned into minutes as Alger, who had failed nearly 100... Is it looping? Oh, no. It didn't... I lost my place. Shit. Seconds turned into minutes, who had failed nearby as hundreds of times, finally learned from a spinal-like fish about where obelisks often appeared. I read that so wrong. I apologize. If I didn't know the target is near the Abyss Maelstrom, I would have long given up. It's really difficult to grasp any reliable information through a brute force search, Alger concluded as he touched his pocket. He had already used up most of his affinity charms with only 5 left. I'll have to get another batch of them when I return. Others must not discover that I've expended all these. I heard that Rocher Archipelago's resistance has plenty, huh? As Alger was pondering, he changed the direction of the Blue Avenger from the spot he had just learned about. About an hour passed as the Blue Avenger stopped. Alger casually took out a sealed metal bottle. This was the sanguine anesthetic gas that he had spent 130 pounds to buy from the moon. He had no doubt in regards to his effects because he had used it on in the past. As the Blue Avenger was a ghost ship, it didn't need many people to man it at night. There was only one person every night who was in charge of watching the ship, preventing it from deliberately creating problems or cruising into dangerous waters. As the captain, Alger had arranged himself to be on duty the night without anyone noticing. After he was done with his preparations, he came to the door of the sailors, took out a metallic pipe, and opened the bottle. He then released the gas into each room without even spraying the storeroom with all stored kinds of sundry. It was in case of certain members of the crew were playing cards in there instead of sleeping. After doing all this, Alger, who wasn't in a rush to concoct the potion, brought the ingredients with him. Changing into a diving suit that was made of shark skin, he leaped from the starboard and into the water without causing any splashes. Under the dark and calm waters, Alger's eyes gradually turned dark blue, allowing him to see his surrounding clearly. He breathed in the air without the water comfortably as he arrived in the pitch-black deep sea. Then he used the affinity charm once again to communicate with the surroundings as fish that were of different shapes and sizes. With the advice from the kind fish, Alger identified his bearings and swam as he finally arrived at what seemed like an underwater volcano. The fish actually didn't know that obelisks stayed here. They only knew that their own kind of a number... wait, I read that wrong. They only knew that their own kind and a number of top DC hunters often dispersed in the vicinity. With his beyond powers, Alger looked far ahead and saw the huge black cave in the undersea volcano. Tentacles that were thicker than the pythons found in the southern continent primitive forest gently fillowed outwards. What the fuck is this? What is this Cthulhu-looking thing? The huge suckers and patterned skin, as well as the cave that was several times the size of the Blue Avenger, left Alger apprehensive as he didn't dare approach. An obelisk is at least a powerful sequence 5. So it's an obelisk? Hold up, I need to Google search this shit. What? An obelisk? Obelisk. What? What is that? I'm getting like a location. That is what? No, that is not okay. Hold up. I got a location. That is not what I'm trying to look up. Okay. An obelisk is at least a powerful sequence 5. Furthermore, it has a terrifying body. I can confirm that it's my target. Alger carefully swam over and stopped at a distance from the threat. After careful identification, he used the affinity and charm once again. Following that, he allowed his spirituality to pass through the water and reach into the cave in an attempt to communicate with a powerful psyche force that was huddled inside. The massive psyche slowly relaxed as the countless thoughts were released. It was taken aback for a moment before its psyche suddenly erupted like a volcano. Roar. Amidst a terrifying sound, the cave produced a ludicrous vortex that sucked the surrounding water trash as well as Alger towards it. It's filled with animosity. Alger's pupils constricted as his body turned slippery as it was driven by a formless wind backwards in an attempt to escape. He used several beyond powers before escaping the influence of the vortex. He didn't dare stay near the undersea volcano, and he quickly surfaced before opening up a gap. Almost a minute later, Alger, who had escaped the danger sea, spat out bubbles as he heaved a sigh of relief. That obelisk can actually resist the influence of charms that increase in affinity with the sea creatures. Does it hate items with a lord's aura? Does it hate items with the Lord's aura? He's talking about Klein. After some thought, Alger, who didn't wish to waste this opportunity, steadied his resolve since he had already come this far. He began using Elvish to pray amidst the seawater. The fool that doesn't belong to this era. No shot. Is he going to try and call freaking Klein? He's like, yo, I need Gurman. Is he here? Is he close by? Oh, shit. Okay. Next chapter. I'm going to sip my coffee. Let me check outside. I think something came in the mail. Let me just do my timestamp. We're at 1 hour, 0 minutes, 30 seconds. Let me step outside for 1 sec. It's so difficult to accompany him while reading in other languages. It's so difficult to accompany him. Oh, are you reading in another language? Really? Oh shit. That sounds hard, dude. Here, I'll be right back. I think something came in the mail. 1 sec. Oh, it's so hot. I see a lot of Portuguese speaking OTM fans. Really? What language do you read in? Oh, so you're reading in Portuguese. No way. That's really cool. That's sick. At least for me, my top 3 demographics that people watch is United States, Europe, and I think India. I think those are the top 3. So at least those would be the top 3 languages that come up on my end. And then there's like everything else. Like Portuguese, Mexico, and others are like in the top 5 or top 10. I send the picture in general. Bet. Let's check it out. Let's check out this bomb-ass pizza. Sorry, if there's anything in your background, we won't show it so we don't dox you. We'll be safe. But if there's anything in the background you don't want to see, well, I won't show it. But let's double check. Just so we're all safe. I got you. Oh, that looked good. Damn, that look good. Damn, you guys see this shit? Look at this. Damn. Man, this pizza looks so good. I gotta show it on the video, Cammy. Damn, that look good. Is that mushroom? Wait, hold up. Is that mushrooms? Mushroom pizza? Hold up. All right. I like. All right, I'll take you. I'll take it. Mushroom pizza. I ain't gonna talk smack. I am a Hawaiian kind of guy. I like pineapple and ham on my pizza. And then just for the final touches, ranch and barbecue. Oh, chef's kiss. So I'm not going to talk smack that there's mushroom on this pizza because it's still good. I've had mushrooms on my pizza. All right, it's pretty good. Now we can keep reading. That's pretty good, dude. That's a good pizza. Geeky wanted to see it. 7 pounds for pizza and everything else. Drink 3 pounds special deal. Oh, that's pretty good. All right. Pizza time. Add in chicken tikka and the pineapple earlier. Don't judge the mushroom. No, I'm not going to judge. I'm not going to judge because I put pineapple and ham. And ranch and barbecue. I can't judge. I am the last person that can judge because sometimes when I say my combination, people like get grossed out. Why is Ellie barking? Mushrooms? Dude, why I have not been able to find that fucking emote on my end. The hand things. I used to, you know how I used to respond to that? Help me out, guys, in chat today, or when the video goes up. I want you guys to spam that the cinema thing, because I haven't been able to see it. But I need to make a absolute cinema emote. I'll add the cinema emote. I got you guys. All right, next chapter. How dare you make a TMNT reference? TMNT absolute 7. Yeah, I gotta make that. I gotta make an emote. But I'm either gonna. I think I need to put my face over Martin Scorsese or Klein's face, because I've seen videos where, like, in the future, people that don't approve their memes or whatever, they go after custom emotes. You get me? Because I've seen people that will, like, commission people to make custom emotes, but then they just steal emotes from other people, and they clearly can't distribute copyrighted emotes, if that makes sense. So I want to make sure we're using an emote that is, I guess, appropriate to use, if that makes sense. But let's keep going. Next chapter, 783. I'll double check though. Yeah, that one. Chapter 783 is called The Trick to Communication. Why he heard the illusionary pleas, Klein was attending a banquet at Portland at Moments Place due to the time difference. The banquet began from 7:30 as it continued all the way 9:30 and even 10. This was because the appetizers, soup, side dishes, and main dishes, staple foods, vegetable fruits, and desserts had numbered a total of 10 to 20 dishes. The footman would serve the dishes one after the other, removing and changing the dishes unison to prevent the dining table from turning chaotic, and also providing interval between the dishes in order to allow the guests to chat. Gentlemen, would you take the initiative to talk to the ladies to the right? In short, it's rather troublesome and exhausting. I even have to take note of which dishes matches with which alcohol. However, it's quite tasty. Taking the opportunity when the roasted lambs was being switched up, he said to Ma'am Williams to his right, "My apologies, I'll need to use the washroom." He got up, pressing his right hand to his chest, bending over slightly as a gesture. Then he left the dining hall and headed for one of the washrooms on the second floor. Upon entering, he locked the door and immediately took 4 steps counterclockwise to head above the gray fog. Mr. Hangman's prayers. He wishes for me to help him in gaining the goodwill of an obelisk, and he's willing to find 15 pages of results diary, or help me do something of equal value. His progress isn't slow. Klein sat up the full seat as he imagined his spirituality and touched the constantly burgeoning and contracting crimson star. After pondering for a few seconds, he said, "Investigate all facet captains who participated in the Kono Top Sea Battle in 1338. As a historian, Klein immediately knew which sea battle it was that he learned from the interrogator had died at the hands of the Faisakian in 1338. One day it will be fixed. You still need to fix it so that we can see on screen? Wait, fix what on screen? Wait, what do I need to fix username? Oh, so you guys can see the emotes? Yeah, man, I need to see that. Easy, check out the general chat when you can. I sent a pizza I made personally from scratch. I'm a hard critic. Here we go. Hold up. I got it right here. Okay, you're just showing off now. Okay, I see you're adding flavor. We're gonna smoke something. Okay, damn, look at that smoker. Okay, 800 degrees. Damn, that's hot. Okay. Oh shit, that looks so... Bro, what the fuck, OG? That looks so fucking good, dude. What the fuck? Damn. Oh, that looks so good. Oh, man, look at that pizza. Oh, my God. Look at the crust. Oh, that is such a fluffy dough, bro. Oh, dude, I'm actually jealous. What the fuck? Damn. That looks good, dude. Damn. I'm fucking salivating. I'm eating pizza today. Man, fuck you guys. You guys are all eating. OG just looked up video of a pizza. he just took a video from YouTube. I'm gonna just post it. He's like, I'm gonna say I made it. That's crazy. The pizza, dude. That looks good. He's hating. He's like, he just took that video from the internet. Man, fuck you guys. I'm eating pizza today. I'm gonna go make pizza today myself. Actually, no, I'm not gonna. I can't make pizza. I'm not that good at making pizza. I wouldn't know where. Wow, I'm sweaty, man. It's getting hot in this room. I need to go buy a fan, man, so I can just have it aiming at me. Or I need to buy like a portable USB plug so I can plug it on an empty USB and just have it aimed at me. All right, but let me find my place. It was right here. All right, I found my place. In 1338, the relationships between Lowen and Face It, by the way, man, that was a damn good pizza, OG. That's good. I'm actually jealous of that kind of. You gotta send me the burner you're using or the smoker because that looks really good. Or when you added like the little pellets, I assume that gave it flavor, right? That looked good. In 1338, the relationship between Lowen and Fasik was tense with occasional conflicts. However, there was only one battle that resulted in the death of someone that was at the level of commander. It was a sea battle that happened in the East Balam's Kono top, and on a Fasakian fleet, there was definitely not many captains. In the deep dark waters, Alger Wilson saw the endless grayish-white fog and heard Mr. Fool's answers. Investigate all the captains from the Fasik Empire that were involved in the Kono sea battle in 1338. Why would Mr. Fool pay attention to such a trivial figure? Is there some immense secret hidden in this matter? Alger's heart stirred without any hesitation. He directly answered, "Your wish is my wish." Damn. Such a mission was difficult and very complicated for him, but it wasn't dangerous. It was something that the present him could accept. After a response, Alger heard Mr. Fool's deep voice once again. You can return to the target's vicinity. That's it, as expected of Mr. Fool. After he obtained the authority, he is more like a sea god than Kalvatua. His might isn't limited to the Roshid Archipelago. Alger was delighted as he thanked Mr. Fool solemnly. Then he bent his back and kicked his legs. He turned to head down, diving into the depths once more. In just minutes, he returned beside the undersea volcano and saw the turbulent flow in the gigantic dark cave as the tentacles were flaying as he has yet to calm down. Although Alger trusted Mr. Fool in being sufficiently powerful and terrifying, an awakening ancient god, he instinctively became cautious when he saw that scene. He carefully inched forward. He suspected that the obelisk's flailing of its countless tentacles was a sign of welcoming him. And at this moment, above the great fog, the sea god scepter wielding Klein frowned slightly. It refuses to communicate with sea god and even hates the feeling, making it willingly to shoot its goodwill. He muttered under his breath, exhausted. His influence on surrounding waters through the prayer had failed. For some unknown reason, the obelisk strongly resisted beyond powers that promoted an affinity with sea creatures. Through the prayer scene, he could see the thick tentacles thrashing about, and he vaguely sensed that the target was infuriated. It was trying to rip apart all living beings that dared approach it. Mr. Hangman has gone over. He's going over. The corners of Klein's mouth twitched as he decided to switch his approach. He raised the sea god scepter a little higher, allowing the blue gems at the tip of the light up to light up one after another, emitting bright lights. Right on the heels of that, he directed the violent aura of the lightning storm over, casting it on the obelisk. The thick tentacles that thrashed about at the bottom of the sea suddenly froze before falling down. They clung close to the seabeds as countless green points of light appeared in the dark cave. Yo, Easy, did you know I'm half woman on my mother's side? Wait, what does that mean, Bullseye? I'm half woman on my mother's side? Wait, I don't get it. What do you mean? Amidst a jarring, rumbling sound, a terrifying monster that could devour a sailboat crawled out. Its patterned black body was massive and distorted. It had a total... Oh, I'm so dumb. I get it. That was funny. That was... I was like, what do you mean? Oh, from his mother's side. Yes, I get it. Amidst a jarring, rumbling sound, a terrifying monster that could devour a sailboat crawled out. A patterned black body with a massive and distorted. It had... Wait, I skipped a line. Right on the heels of that, he directed the violent aura of lightning storms over, casting it on the obelisk. The thick tentacles that thrashed about the bottom of the sea suddenly froze before falling down. They clung close to the seabeds as countless green points of light appeared in the dark cave. Amidst a jarring, rumbling sound, a terrifying monster that could devour a sailboat crawled out. Its patterned black body was massive and distorted. It had a total of 3 heads, and each head had more than a dozen eyes. All of them were emitting green light. Ugh. The monster then prostrated, appearing as obedient as a trained hound. Indeed, tricks... I'm sorry, did we just recruit that? Indeed, tricks are needed in communication. Klein nodded in satisfaction and once again used the Beyond Powers and Affinity Powers to make the obelisk open their mouths of its 3 heads via a psychic connection. This made Alger instantly see the 3 dark caves, each of them large enough to provide a sailboat passing inside. What? Wait, is there any artwork on this creature? Dude, if you guys have any artwork, send it my way. Because I need to see what this actually looks like. Praise be to Mr. Fool. Alger looked at the magnificent scene before him as he couldn't help but mutter inwardly. He didn't waste any time, and he chose the middle head by quickly swimming towards it. A sprawled and warped passage quickly appeared in Olga's vision, and the walls were made of flesh. The width was comparable to the bow of the Blue Avenger. Whoosh, water flowed into the passage, headed right from the blue depths. Olga took this opportunity to let his body go with the flow. Suddenly, he felt as though he was back as a sailor, engaged in combat amidst the waves, groggy from being tossed around and couldn't be sustained. By that time, Olga used his beyond powers and got a hold of himself. He had already left the tunnel of flesh. He was in a dark, spacious world with a sticky sensation by his feet. There was a putrid stench everywhere around him. In just a second, Olga realized that the liquid inside was corroding him. He hurriedly produced a water membrane as he made it swell into a transparent sphere. He knew that he was already inside the obelisk's stomach. Without any hesitation, he took out all the bottles he had long prepared and began concocting the potion. As the supplementary ingredients were thrown into the wide mouthful metal bottle, they mixed into the dark blue liquid flowing that Olga carefully threw in a jellyfish that enveloped azure blue seawater into a translucent membrane. The distant ethereal singing grew in intensity before calming down. In the bottle, there wasn't any ripples or bubbles. The liquid was dark, just like the ocean before a storm. Olga calmed his mind, entered the cogitation, and picked up the metal bottle before clearly downing the ocean songster potion inside. That's crazy. Really got better at reading. You're blessing through this. I know. I'm like, once I lock in, it like, my reading comprehension comes and goes as I'm streaming. That's the one thing I've noticed. The liquid was cold as it brought about a numbness. As I say that, I lose it. Numbness that's I lost the momentum. No, I'm kidding. That slid down his gullet and into his stomach. It spread through his body cells at an unimaginable speed. At that instant, Olga vaguely heard countless voices then came from all life at sea. What the fuck? At that instant, Olga vaguely heard countless voices. They came from all life at sea, but the obelisk's body blocked most of it. Oh, leaving a relatively screened out version. Oh, so it makes it easy for him. Plop, plop, plop. Olga felt his heart beating violently as spewed blood outwards. His spirituality and the sound waves began to remold his voice and soul. He couldn't help it as he opened his mouth, letting out a loud sigh. Amidst the sigh, Olga felt his spirit body being ripped slightly. As the sound waves spread outwards, the first turned into the mottled scales on his skin before pulling out long flesh tendrils that appeared like flailing tentacles. Ugh. The sound wave, I'm choking my saliva. The sound wave continued spreading outwards with his spirit body fragments, making contact with the sticky liquid of the obelisk's stomach. And they magnificently bounced back, infusing Olga's body once again. Olga, who was on the brink of losing control, instantly felt better as he seized the opportunity. Without any fear of embarrassing himself, he began singing loudly in a bid to vent the invisible sound. He's gonna be a singer now. He began singing loudly in a bid to vent the invisible sound waves that would blast his body apart. Rough, messy, off-tune singing filled with metallic quality spread outwards, wave after wave, mixing with the numerous spirit body fragments before bouncing back of the obelisk's sticky stomach wall. In the process, Olga was like an ingredient being baked in the sound waves as he molded into form. Finally, he regained control of his body, and he grasped his spreading spirituality. At last, Olga closed his eyes as a smile couldn't help but appear on his face. I'm literally smiling as I read that. He had completed the first goal he had for all these years, to advance to Ocean Songster. Yeah, dude. Mythical creatures always This is so sick, dude. He's an Ocean Songster now. Holy shit. I've gained superficial control of lightning, gained a more all-rounded underwater mobility, as well as the ability to use singing to affect targets. Dude, he's like a siren now. The latter ability is different because of every person's uniqueness, producing different branching paths. One of them is to use beautiful singing to disrupt an enemy's spirit body, causing him to turn adrift. Sirens are those sea creatures that sing, right? Or they shriek? Damn. And fall into days. Another is to raise one's explosive strength. Another is to stimulate a thunderous boom to leave others in awe. A bard of ocean. That's crazy, dude. And another is to use chaotic and unpleasant singing to leave the enemy frustrated, causing them to lose their rationality. Olga inspected himself as his expression turned a little odd. I like how there's a lot of abilities in this series that make your opponent lose like their rationale, right? I find that pretty cool. And like what like the whole point to not losing control is to be irrational. So I feel like it's like a double-edged sword, like that ability in and of itself. He soon put these thoughts away, picked up his items, and swam towards the obelisk's mouth before gently tapping on the already closed mouth. The mouth slowly opened and roared. As it suddenly spewed out everything in its mouth, Olga instantly felt as though he was in a mid-air as he nearly collided with a shark. After a series of actions, he surfaced and swam towards the Blue Avenger. Only after the ghost ship outline was reflected in his eyes did he truly heave a sigh of relief. Osgood was only worried that something out of the ordinary would happen to the Blue Avenger while he was advancing. Although an hour or two wasn't a huge problem, there weren't always all kinds of surprises in the world. After receiving Mr. Hangman's gratitude again, Klein returned to the real world, washed and dried his hands before leaving the washroom and walking towards the dining hall. As the fragrance of food inundated his olfactory senses once again, he slowly drew a breath as he returned to the seat with a smile. As he gestured to his guests, he sat down. At this point, it's already time for dessert. Damn, like he's ready to eat. The greatest glazer sent the proof in general. Bet we'll look at it right now. I got you. We got like one page. I got you. From the looks of it, I stayed too long in the washroom. I hope that after today, there wouldn't be talks about Dwayne Dantes having constipation. Okay. Klein slightly muttered to himself as he smiled at Man Williams to his right and said, "When I was young, I ate all kinds of strange foods in the southern continent. One of them was calling Tenet tree plums. They taste like the bland butter, just like these desserts." Ellie, is that you outside? He euphemistically explained the reason for his delay by implying that he had weakened his stomach from his younger days. All right, next chapter, dude. 700 is also another assassination. Oh, character assassination. So I feel like Dwayne Dantes is gonna have a character assassination moment, right? All right, let's update this. Let's keep reading. Let me just do my timestamp quickly before I forget. And I gotta finish my coffee. 1 hour, 14 minutes, 4 seconds. Why does it run out of memory? It's so weird. Paste. Mm-hmm. That look good. OG, are you doing this right now? Are you making this like right now? I'm just realizing you're doing this right now. Wait, oh no, these are different videos because this one is from nighttime. Okay, so this is proof. Oh, no gloves. Oh, that's scary. Dude, I want to buy one of these. Wait. Oh, you can put 2 pizzas? Oh, what the fuck? I'm gonna look into these. Do you need more proof? Okay, I'm looking into one of these. Oh, man. Oh, this looks so cool. Okay. Okay, OG. I think... Fuck Gabby. Dude, I thought you put like the model number. This is the weirdest stream bit. No, I'm using this to finish my coffee. Wait. I thought fucking OG pizza cooking stream would be fire. Dude, I would be fire. I genuinely thought this picture was OG like putting the name of the smoker or like the model number, and it's just FU Gabby. I give up. Dude, I thought he was telling us like the brand of the smoker. Absolutely, it's fine. It's amazing. No, that was cool, dude. That I need to look into it, like a pizza smoker. That looks actually badass. Dude, I can literally just set up one in here. It's kind of scary that this is all carpet, so I'm gonna have to put like a flame mat or something under me. But I think that'd be pretty sick, bro. I don't have any ventilation in here. Maybe not that. We can like make it. And then we'll just throw it in like the oven outside or something. All right, next chapter. We finished our coffee. Now let me just drink some water so I can get this coffee breath away. And we keep reading. Number 2. Number 2 now at the end. All right. Next chapter, 778. Let's keep reading. Keep reading. We gotta keep it going. Chapter 700. Oh, I read 778. No, that's where we started. Okay, chapter 784 is called Character Assassination. Mama Willis glanced at Dwayne Dantes and said with a smile, completely unfazed, "Your past and your experiences in Desi Bay and the Southern Continent are more interesting than any novel I've read. It makes me feel like having a similar experience of my own." Ooh. Of course, they're just like real-life stories that have been tweaked. It's all thanks to Anderson Hood, a hunter that goes everywhere. As Klein cast his gaze on the tiny butter cake, he chuckled. It's because those are only the interesting ones. There are many that I'd rather not remind myself of. After that simple statement, he began enjoying the dessert. However, Ma'am Willis and the other ladies heard that they were somehow reminded of the best-selling novel, A Man with a Story. To them, Dwayne Dantes was such a man, although he looked like a placid lake. There was more deep down. Hidden there was more pleasant surprises and plenty of pain. The banquet ended 20 minutes to 10. A number of gentlemen and ladies went to the card room to play 2 hours of Texas Hold'em, while the remaining men headed for the activity room to have a chat. They didn't bar women from joining, but as to it was inevitable for them to broach on sexual matters while smoking. No woman joined them. They either circled the piano as a first story and listened to and sang along with the performer on the group, or they grouped up to play chess. Klein chose to head to the activity room on the second story private conservations with a few people to help him speed up the admission into the circle. By the way, I made a chess account. I feel like that'd be a fun little random side tangent. We play chess on stream. I think that'd be pretty cool. Or no, like we learn how to play chess on stream. They either circled the piano at first story and listened and sang along with the performer, or they grouped up to play chess. Klein chose to head to activity room on the second story. Private conservations with few people had helped him sped up his admission into the circle. After entering the room, he observed the environment and went straight for the window to open them. He then pulled a nearby high back chair to sit down, and just as he did that, he saw the banquet host, Portland Moment, laugh with pipe in hand. Men often need some space for themselves. Easy, the next Tyler 1. I remember that. Tyler 1 literally became like a grandmaster in his ranking. The Easy versus Wiz Chess Duet. Ooh, yo, hey. That'd be a pretty hype. I think that'd be a hype-ass stream. We have like a 1 month training arc, and then we play Wiz a game of chess. And we'll do it like best 2 out of 3. Unironically, we'll have our anime tournament. I say unironically so much. I apologize. We'll literally have our anime tournament arc. That'd be pretty cool. We'll have our anime moment, or we'll have our MC tournament arc. His voice was so, like, will we become who's training you? YouTube videos. His voice was sonorous, and he had a big build. He was an elder in his 60s with a ruddy complexion and rather thick hair despite being all white. His facial features were the most classical features of a lone-as man, was nothing that stood out. Yes, men have to take note of their image when the ladies are around. We have to be considerate about their thoughts. I've already wanted to kiss this an hour ago. Hazel's father, member of parliament, Mach, took out a gorgeous silver box, taking out a cigar from the inside. The other men in the activity room did the same as pipes or cigarettes appeared in his hand as though they were pulling off a magic trick. As the flames flickered, whips of smoke began to billow, filling the room as though the smog from yesterday hadn't dispersed. After enjoying it for a few seconds with his eyes closed, Portland Moment looked at the guests by the window and asked, "Dwayne, do you not smoke?" Klein clenched. He should smoke, because he was holding a cigar in his official thumbwork and his official artwork. Klein clenched his fist and placed it in his mouth, coughing slightly as he said, "I have yet to recover. The doctor advised me not to smoke for the time being." To be frank, he was almost choking. Thankfully, he had smartly chosen a seat by the window. This group smokes like chimneys. Klein curled his right index finger and rubbed against his nostrils. He had the urge to use his beyond the powers of a magician to create an invisible air pipe that extended outside to draw in fresh air. That's such an amazing use of his ability. Fresh air so as to escape the harm of secondhand smoke, but considering how there might be beyonders hiding amongst these men, he wisely gave up on that idea. Portland Moment laughed upon hearing that. "I heard from Bishop Electra that it's not within reason that you were sick. You lack a wife." Oh shit. Damn, he just said it like that. Self-training? It'll be a self-training arc. This professor was a believer of the god of steam and machinery, but his wife was a believer of the Evernight goddess. Therefore, they had taken up residence in Buckland Street near St. Samuel Cathedral. He often had bishops visiting him and having exchanges. Is he mocking me for thinking about women despite being sick? I really couldn't tell that Bishop Electra is actually a man who likes spreading gossip. It's all Erode's fault. Character assassination. Klein lampooned and shook his head with a smile. "I place great importance on marriage. I'd rather remain single if there's no one suitable." At this moment, the high-ranking employer of the Backland Municipal Office, Mr. Willis, spewed out smoke and said, "Actually, I envy Dwayne's single status. It allows him to be able to pursue any kind of woman that he likes." He had deliberated, enunciated any kind, causing ambiguous laughter to sound out. Oh, shit. Now he has a freaky reputation. At this moment, the high-ranking employer of the Backland Municipal Office, Mr. Willis, spewed out smoke and said, actually, oh wait, I just read this. Wow, time loop. He had deliberated enunciated any kind, causing ambiguous laughter to sound out. The matter of Dwayne Dante's wide preference and him never rejecting any charmed woman had already spread across the street. Klein held back his right hand to prevent himself from subconsciously rubbing his temples. He felt that deep, dignified, handsome, gregarious new tycoons imagined was undergoing a subtle change. He first suspected that it was the loudmouth Bishop Electra that had spread the news, but later believed that it was Butler Walter who, damn, his own freaking butler was the one that did it to him. Butler Walter, who had proactively gotten the servants to spread the gossip. No shot, his own butler was the one that spread it. This is because a nearly flawless, charming gentleman would often be unknowingly ostracized by members of the same sex in a circle. But when a blemish surfaced with a topic that could be used in jest, it made it easier for him to build closer ties. Oh. Klein wasn't angry about such treatment. Instead, he liberally gave a wry smile in a rather gentlemanly manner. That's why I have difficulty choosing, causing me to remain single to this day. He can't pick. Ha! Portland Moment and company laughed in unison. Member of Parliament Mosh then said, what you need is to be a little more decisive. A good marriage and a good family aids a man greatly. Look at that. Walter coming in the clutch. So he actually did this for his own benefit. He did this to actually help out Dwayne. All right, he stopped teasing him and gave serious advice. From the looks of it, no matter which world you're in, you can't escape the fate of being pressured into marriage. Klein nodded gently and glanced out the window, taking in the night scenery of Portland Moment's garden. At this moment, he saw a figure. It was Hazel Motch, who was dressed in a black-green gown, following a trail going deeper into the garden, pursuing from time to time to look around as though he was looking for something. They've been talking about Hazel a lot this volume. I wonder what they're going to do with her, man. Like, I wonder, like, where her character is going to go in this volume. Wasn't this lady playing the piano just now? Why would she suddenly be in the garden? When Klein retracted his gaze, Hazel's figure was blocked by flowers. When guests attend banquets or balls, leaving the hall to head into the garden isn't something impolite. After all, it's a very stylish habit to take a stroll under the moon and take in the flowery aroma at night's winds. However, this often implies a rendezvous? Why, I can't read, man. She's gonna have a horrible death. She better not, man. She better not. I can't. Zero attachments. I don't care if she dies. Zero attachments. Cap. Zero attachments, man. Who's Hazel rendezvousing with? Why can't I read that word? You know what? We read it right. No, it doesn't seem like it. No one that came today is truly her equal, although she doesn't appear as arrogant after the fright she suffered from in the sewers, making her occasionally look depressed. She still seems to belittle ordinary people deep down. She's dealing with the negative effects of the mystical item. That doesn't make sense. Entering a lounge or the washroom would be better than the garden since there's more privacy. Furthermore, back at the ball, held at her place, she's also went to the third story and not the garden. Klein eliminated the various impossibilities and finally had a theory. From the way Hazel is trying to sense or find something, she seems to have noticed some abnormality and plans to observe the deal with it up close. Does it also mean that there's some paranormal activity happening in Professor Portland Moment's house? If that's true, this professor or someone in the family isn't simple at all. The bishops of the same Samuel Cathedral haven't realized that anything despite them visiting, huh? A marauder's senses and observation skills in certain areas definitely stands out. Rendezvous is a French word for a meetup. Well, like, I was thinking like a rendezvous. I'm sorry, is it rendezvous? Like, I know rendezvous is like, oh, we're gonna, like, rendezvous is at this point. Was that what the word was? Rendezvous? It's like, I know what it is, I can't read it. I couldn't read it, yes? Like, I know what's, you see, like, there are words that I know how to say, but because I don't always spell it out, when it pops out for the first time, I'm like, I can't read it. It's weird. I don't know why my brain does that. It's weird. I apologize for that. I already forgot what I said. I forgot how I was trying to pronounce that freaking word. Rendezvous. Yeah. Klein didn't have any thoughts of interfering in the situation outside. After all, something that Hazel could sense was definitely nothing too dangerous. Besides, St. Samuel Cathedral was nearby. If there were any hidden secrets, no one would attempt to escalate matters and would instantly try to lay low. At this moment, Motch finally calmed down from an untasteful joke and looked towards Portland Moment. I heard you'll be leaving Backland University. Professor Portland Moment sucked at his pipe and said, that's right, the Higher Education Commission wishes that I become the Chancellor of the reorganized Backland University of Technology. Huh? Although a large amount of my wealth comes from metal alloys, what I'm best at is mechanical engineering. Sounds like Melissa can learn a lot from this person at Backland University. Coincidence? I think not. Professor Portland Moment sucked at his pipe and said, "That's right. The Higher Education Commission wishes that I become the chancellor of the reorganized Backland University of Technology." Melissa's going to learn a lot out of this school, huh? Dude, there has to be a time skip where she ends up going to Backland University and learns more about, like, machinery. Although a large amount of my wealth comes from metal alloys, what I'm best at is mechanical engineering. And then she learns under him. They've promised to build me a better laboratory there and also provided me with more funding. At my age, having more autonomy and helpers is more important. And Mr. Willis echoed with a smile. And Backland University will have a full-time professor spot empty up. Those senior associate professors that have been waiting for decades can finally have a chance. And Lowen's tertiary education system, full-time professors weren't just a title, but also a post. It was equivalent to a dean, so there was only one. Backland University of Technology. Klein smiled as he listened, keeping silent on matters he didn't know much about. In the garden, Hazel arrived in dark and secluded corners. She had discovered that ants and other insects on the ground were gathering in abnormal matter, and her spiritual perception felt that something was hidden here. This was an innate sure sequence, and it had never failed in the past. Yes. Without any additional help, she could directly choose the precious items hidden among several sealed boxes. Of course, she wasn't able to distinguish what it was exactly. All she knew was that compared to the rest, what her spiritual perception told her was something was definitely more valuable. Just like Mr. Dwayne Dantes, he definitely has extremely precious items on him. Hazel curled the corners of her lips as she cast her gaze to the soil, which looked a little loose. She sensed that copious amounts of spirituality were gathering underneath, thus attracting insects and souls. It's not a human body, it's some spirituality equipped with materials that have been used. They should have been thrown away in batches, but they were instead buried together, causing unnecessary changes. Hazel's eyes turned darker as she intercepted the situation underground based on the unhidden spirituality traits and changes. What is it? She tipped her chin slightly and looked back at the building. She believed that the Portland Moment family had at least one person with extraordinary powers. And if this problem in the garden wasn't resolved, the nearby houses would have paranormal activities in the coming days. Hazel retracted her gaze, extended her left palm, and aimed it at the soil. With a gentle grip, she slowly twisted her wrist. The gathered spirituality vanished as though it had been stolen by someone. Oh, that's it? Oh, shit. Yeah, OG got number 1. All right, next chapter. Trissy's discovery. Okay, what's going to go on with her now? Hold up. Let's keep reading. Timestamp. Timestamp, timestamp, timestamp. Hold up, timestamp. 1 hour, 26 minutes, 58 seconds. Copy, paste. All right, next chapter. Have you reached the part where Goku? Oh, I was about to stop reading, but I read Goku, so I know you're just joking, Shane. Okay, that was a good troll. I thought you were gonna like say like, have you reached the part where Trissy dies or something? I'm like, well, we got the Trissy is back now, so we did get to that part. Yes, we are back here, but I don't know. Yeah, we have not seen Goku show up, not yet. Exactly. Maybe with all the spiritual perception that was going under, maybe it was him going Super Saiyan for all we know. But yeah, no, definitely no Goku reveal just yet. Or are you implying maybe it's a King of Angels instead of saying Goku? Like, are you keeping it vague maybe? I'm trying to read into that comment now. Goku, King of Angels. King of Angels are pretty strong. Goku is strong. I see what you did there. I mean, 2BH and LOTM, you're not dead until you're confirmed dead by at least 3 different gods. True. Wait, no, wait. I don't remember that. Because I know in this series, like, you can't unalive yourself because, like, there's the potentiality of turning into like a spirit or whatever. I forgot about that part. Damn, I actually forgot about that. All right, well, next chapter. Chapter 785 is called Trissy's Discovery. 100 Buckland Street in the corner of the garden, Portland's Moment's residence. The many ants and worms that were gathering there slowly dispersed as cold, creepily sensation faded. That person with extraordinary powers likely doesn't have any experience. With her goal achieved, Hazel nodded indiscriminately before turning around briskly and strolling through the garden. She was in a rush to return as she enjoyed the crimson moonlight, the cold air, and the faintly flowery scents. After a long while, Hazel stopped her stroll and left the garden, entering the hall on the first floor. At this moment, apart from the guests still playing Texas Hold'em, many ladies and gentlemen had bid farewell. Moments after Hazel found her mother, Mam Rianne, she saw her father, Member of Parliament Mosh, and a few other gentlemen walked down as they considered with lively expressions. Are you ready to head home? You have to visit a very important guest tomorrow morning. As Rianne gestured for her daughter to come close, she walked towards her husband and greeted the others with a smile. Have you reached the part where Easy Geeky drinks the seer potion? Not yet. Not yet, dude. Not yet. Mach nodded and said, I would have loved to try another of Portland cigars, if not for that matter. Rianne swept her gaze to Willis, Dwayne Dantes, and company as she asked in passing, Gentlemen, what are you talking about? It sounds interesting. Mach turned his body to the side and said with a smile, Dwayne said that he encountered ghosts when he was in the southern continent. He and his companions suddenly woke up in the middle of the night and found themselves unable to open their eyes. Their bodies were heavy, as though someone was pressing on them. They used a great deal of strength before escaping such a state and left their beds. However, they discovered their rooms were extremely cold. You might not know this, but East Balam's weather's hot most of the time. Then Dwayne and his companions each held double-barrel hunting rifles and stood guard the entire night. They frantically left the town after the sun rose. After hearing that, Marianne looked at Dwayne Dantes with piqued interest. Is that true? Do ghosts really exist? Klein shook his head with a smile. That I'm not sure. Perhaps my companions and I had just experienced a harrowing adventure, and our bodies and minds weren't in the best of conditions. This might have resulted in all kinds of problems. The stories he told were soared from one of Anderson's experience. Back when the strongest hunter of the Foxy was exploring a temple in the primitive forest, he chanced upon a spectator creating a large-scale breakout overnight. Ghosts. Hazel turned her head to look towards the garden. The corners of her mouth curved up slightly before she held back. She didn't say a word as she quietly listened to her parents bidding the rest of them farewell before returning home together. Late at night, Hazel, who had changed into a sleeping gown, walked to the balcony and stood behind a gap in the curtains. She looked towards the sewer manhole of Buckland Street. As he looked at it, her face gradually turned pale, as though she had recalled an experience filled with pain and horror. She forced herself to retract her gaze, took two-step breaths, and turned around to walk to her bedside. During this process, she bit gently onto her lips and muttered silently, "That was likely a wraith. Definitely." I need items or charms in the sun domain. With Hazel looking at the manhole, Klein was also doing the same. It's been days. I wonder how well the demoness Trissy had recovered and whether she has left or not. Thankfully, after Hazel was given a scare by me, she hasn't dared to approach the manhole. Klein's gaze swept the iron-black street lamps and nodded slightly. He opened the iron cigar case and made his wraith marionette appear with the full-body mirror. He had already decided to send Sinor down the sewers to check the air to confirm Trissy's condition. He didn't want the demoness to cause any troubles. Furthermore, the sewers were just physically too close to his identity as Dwayne Dantes. Klein didn't wish for Trissy to be in the vicinity any longer. He wished that she could recover soon and take action that would prompt her to leave Buckland Street. Having an Admiral Blood Center appear every once in a while would fulfill the character setting I previously created. It doesn't live nearby, and because the sewers contain a secret, it often wanders around in search of it. As Klein was thinking, he made the marionette in the ancient triangular hat leap onto the street lamp surface before passing through the manhole, covering in a wraith form, quickly approaching the hidden fork where Trissy hid herself at. Before reaching the dead end, Sinor, who had night vision, could see that the area was empty. She already recovered and left. Klein thought and made the marionette continue frowning, stopping at the spot where Trissy was previously sitting. He discovered that the place was tidied up. Not only was the ground not muddy and moist, even the moss on the walls and corners had vanished. There isn't any leftover food either. That fellow became a germaphobe after becoming a woman? Did I say germa? Germa. A germaphobe after becoming a woman. No, perhaps. I thought it was like Germa from like One Piece. No. Germaphobe. After becoming a woman, no, perhaps he was like that to begin with. With Senor's vision, Klein surveyed the area and determined that either Trissy hadn't left or she hadn't left for more than a day. Otherwise, it was impossible to maintain the cleanliness of this place. It's almost 2-hour mark now? Really? Oh yeah, almost, huh? Just as his thoughts flashed through his mind, light footsteps sounded in the wraith's ears. Under the control, Sinner retracted his steps and wasn't surprised to see Trissy in her black dress. This demoness had the luscious black hair cascading down. Unlike the peers her age who had different hairstyles, it was simple and neat. Matched with her pale face that had recovered some of its rudeness, Trissy looked like a dreamy flower that was silently blooming in the night. As expected of a demoness, thankfully there's a marionette in between us, otherwise I would just end up staring at her. A dead person won't be enticed no matter how charming a demoness is. There's no way that she can make the deceased climb out of a tomb like a zombie. Klein lampooned as he looked at Trissy, who had a blank expression, but was secretly wary, having released the invisible threads. Where did you go? Trissy pricked up her brows and said, would you like to relieve yourself where you sleep? I thought a demoness wouldn't need to use the washroom. Klein gave a self-deprecating comment and made Sinor chuckle. Are you referring to pissing or shitting? He had deliberately made the marinade say such words as they matched Admiral Blood's persona of a boorish part. Tracy indiscriminately frowned and said, "Is there anything else?" Senor didn't continue on the topic and said, "You look like you've almost recovered." Tracy smiled. "Not bad. I'll be leaving tomorrow." She paused as she silently narrowed her slender eyes. Volume form is so good, so all the other volumes. I'm excited, dude. I'm excited to see how crazy these fights get, man. To be frank, I doubt whether you're the real Admiral Blood at times. Of course it's real. You should ask if he's alive or dead. With interest piqued, Klein made Sinner ask, "Why do you say that?" Trish's gaze swept over the Wraith's face and said, "It said that Admiral Blood is someone who indulges in desires, and he has no resistance towards beautiful females and males. Yet I don't see any sparks of desires when you face me. I believe the real Admiral Blood would have added the condition of doing something I wouldn't want to do in agreement." Klein deliberated for 2 seconds and made Sinner gave a self-deprecating smile. "I'm afraid of finding myself lost to pleasure and ending up being controlled by you." Trish's expression instantly changed. This was indeed one of the reasons why she had raised the topic. To deviance of pleasure, the Beyonders who habitually indulge in desires were naturally prey. Klein actively ignored the topic and made the marionette say, "You're seeking out the target tomorrow. Very clearly, the Royal Guard captain knows you and knows what you look like. After all, you were arranged by them to be by Prince Etzik's side." Klein silently added. Trissy lowered her head and looked at her toes before chuckling. "Rest at ease. I have the perfect plan." As she spoke, she turned her body sideways and casually looked deep into sewers. "If you set off from here, at the end of the 6th left fork is a hidden passage. It has signs of prolonged human activity." I discovered it while walking around in the past few days. Volume 4 ending was peak. Bet. I'm excited. I believe it has something to do with that girl, right? It also is the reason why you're here. Hidden passage, maybe the hidden stage. Hidden passage, hidden stage? Nah. Klein didn't confirm or deny. He made Sinner smile and say, "Did you discover anything?" Tracy shook her head. "There was nothing at all. Perhaps only a certain pathway or someone with a specific item can find the clues. A marauder's intuition or something on Hazel's person." Klein didn't make Sinner continue on the topic as he pressed his hands to his chest and bowed with a smile. "Since you recovered, I can be at ease." The moment he said that, he suddenly vanished. Tracy focused her eyes into his stare, but it was to no avail. Only when the invisible thread she had released was hit by a breeze did she retract her gaze, confirming that Admiral Blood had really left. At that moment, Klein had brought the Wraith back to the manhole without attempting to explore the spot which Tracy had mentioned. There were 3 reasons for this decision. First, it was exceeded at 100 meters. Secondly, he suspected that he wouldn't find anything since he wasn't from the Marauder pathway, nor did he have the corresponding items. Third, Tracy was still around. Forrest woke up naturally on a Sunday morning as she got up to wash up. As she chewed on a fresh piece of toast, she retrieved a stack of items from her mailbox. As she walked to the coffee table with a cup of coffee on it, she casually flipped through the items and discovered a reply letter that she had been looking forward to. Throwing down the papers, bills, and other items, Forrest tore open an envelope. "Teacher is already in Backland." Forrest quickly read through the letter as she muttered in surprise. At the same time, she saw the toast in her mouth plunge to the ground. "Is he okay? Is he dead? Why would the toast fall?" All right, let's keep reading. Hold up. 786. Let me do a little 2-minute break. 2-minute break. Yeah. Gotta crack the back. Ugh. All right, now we keep reading. Okay. 786. The plot thickens indeed. Damn, man, I fucking smell. I'm like sweating. I'm starting to sweat. I'm starting to smell like shit, dude. Woo. 1 hour, 35 minutes. I need a shower, man. I'm starting to get all oily and smelly. It's so hot in here right now. My ceiling fan is not doing justice right now. It is so bad, dude. It's not helping out at all. Copy. Paste. Chapter 786 is called Accounting Fraud. Hat Trick Inn on Sherwood Borough, 22 Hope Street. Just as the attendant of the front desk was about to drink some water, she saw a lady walk in. Just as the attendant... Wait, I read that. The lady was about 1.65 meters tall, and she wore a light-colored dress with frilly sides. Her brown curly hair cascaded down, and she wore colored glasses. She looked casual, just like someone who had just returned from Desi Bay. She held a dark brown leather suitcase as she unhurriedly walked to the front desk. A lady with extraordinary disposition. Her attire is nice. How I wish I could see what she looks like without her glasses. As a female, the attendant habitually sized up her clothes and accessories. She then heard the lady say in a languid tone, "One night, a single bedroom, 2 solely and 8 pence." The attendant gave her the room rates for the day and directly asked, Do you have any identification documents? She wasn't too adamant about registering her identity because the inn had no means of confirming the authenticity of the documents. Yes, the lady put down her dark brown suitcases and took out an identification document from her handbag before passing it to her. Margaret Taylor, the attendant muttered as she registered her before finding a bunch of keys. Room 2012. Room 2012. Room 2020. Yeah. Room 2012. Why am I reading that wrong? Thank you. The lady is fashionable attire received the keys, carried the dark brown suitcase, and walked towards the staircase. At that moment, an attendant in red vest came over. He bowed and asked, "How may I help you?" He immediately cast his gaze on the dark brown suitcase. The lady curled her lips into a smile as she shook her head. "There's no need, it's very light." With that said, she didn't stop as she walked up the stairs and entered the room 2012. Only after she closed the door and put down the suitcase did she raise her right hand to her chest, letting out a long sigh of relief. Why do I feel like a psychotic murderer? She was none other than the disguised Force? It's Force? There was nothing in her suitcase except for Mr. X's head. She has the head in the suitcase. Check out the pics I made and discard. Bet. We'll look at it right now. I got you. Damn, man, you guys are all showing off with your own made pizza? What the heck, man? Only after she closed the door and put down the suitcase, she raised her right hand to her chest, letting out a long sigh. Why do I feel like a psychotic murderer? She was none other than disguised Force. There was nothing in her suitcase except for the Mr. X head, which was wrapped in newspapers. The two attendants from before probably wouldn't have guessed that the fashionable lady didn't have any clothes, facial products, or makeup in her suitcase but a cracked, bloody head. If they were to be discovered, that everyone in the end would have been given fright. This is the source material for a detective novel. There you go. She's gonna make her book right here. Forrest calmed her feeling of anxiousness and picked up her suitcase again and opened the door. She observed the corridor and saw that no one was walking through it. She hurriedly walked out and headed for room 2016 and rapped on the wooden door. Her teacher, Dorian Gray Abraham, was living in the same room he previously used. After sensing someone sizing her up through the peephole, Forrest heard the doorknob twist and the gears unlocked. Dorian Gray was dressed in a black suit with very broad shoulders. He looked to the left and right warily before making way, allowing his student to enter. "No one noticed you, right?" Following that, he closed the door and asked cautiously. Forrest put down the suitcase and removed the colored glasses that hid half her face. "No, I used a fake identity. As a Beyonder in background with rather rich experiences as a low-sequence Beyonder, having a few fake identification documents was necessary. Furthermore, she had SHIELD experts held in such matters. The only problem was that it was ultimately a fake identity that couldn't stand up to police scrutiny. However, Forrest had heard that there were places where real identity documents could be obtained. Furthermore, they were documents which the police department had a record of. With the picture swapped, of course, the price was much more expensive." Dorian nodded gently and suddenly exhaled. As he got Forrest to sit, he brought a chair over and said, "You mentioned that someone is paying to find a direct descendant of the Abraham family, the Beyonder gathering in Backland. And the goal is to find the information on Mr. Dorr." "Yes, teacher." Forrest said nothing but the truth. "I don't know much about the family, so I thought of asking you to see if you knew anything." She hit 2 points, namely the Beyonder gathering being called the Tarot gathering, and that she long knew that her teacher was a member of the Abraham family. Dorian sat down and drank a sip from a white porcelain teacup. Oh yeah, he doesn't know that she knows yet. I forgot about that. He asked with a calm expression, "Who was the one asking?" "I'm not sure. I can only confirm that it was a woman. She had concealed her appearance. She seems very powerful and must have quite a strong backing." Forrest described her impression of Ma'am Hermit. What she didn't say was that this woman had close ties with Queen Mystic Bernadette. Dorian Gray pondered for a few seconds before saying, "I don't know much either. All I know is that Mr. Dorr is the ancestor of the Abraham family. He vanished during the War of the Four Emperors. You can try using this piece of information to get some of that bounty." Mr. Dorr is the Abraham family ancestor. Mr. Dorr, who made Abraham family suffer the curse of the full moon, causing many members to lose control, is actually the Abraham family's ancestor. Ford was alarmed. Having already learned some of the problems of the Abraham family from Mr. Fool, she couldn't believe that the cause of all this was the source of the bloodline. Does Mr. Dorr not know the consequences of his actions? Ford muttered silently as he couldn't help but frown. Dorian Gray noticed his student's abnormal reaction as he asked, somewhat puzzled, "Is there a problem?" "Oh no, I didn't manage to hide my expression." Ford deliberately and said, "I just don't understand. It's been more than 1,000 years. So apart from the Abraham family's direct descendants, who would wish to gather information on Mr. Dorr and why? Perhaps you're trying to find Mr. Dorr. All right, Queen Mystic is Emperor Rizzo's daughter, and Mr. Dorr has appeared in Emperor Rizzo's diary. Therefore, the Queen is trying to find Mr. Dorr to figure out the truth of the past. That's normal. However, Mr. Dorr vanished in the War of the Four Emperors more than 1,000 years before Emperor Rizzo's era. How that they managed to contact each other. Could it be that Emperor Zo could also hear the full moon ravings? No. I remember Mr. Full making a remark that Mr. Door might be calling for help. If that's the case, it's really. As an author, Forrest was momentarily lost for words as she described her feelings. Dorian revealed a wry smile and said, certainly, I'm also puzzled about this problem. Remember to tell me if you find the answer. Forrest didn't harp on this matter, afraid that Dorian Gray would notice anything amiss. She then said, teacher, why did you suddenly come to Backland? Dorian smiled. She's like, take over the head. Bro, what? She's like, I need you to take over the head. Dorian smiled and picked up a cigarette as he raised it to her nose and gave it a whiff. Without lighting it, he said, I happen to have some matters that need me to be in Backland. I also decided to check on your digestion production. In fact, he had been alarmed by Forrest's letter. He couldn't believe that anyone in the world would still be asking about Mr. Door. One had to know that even the Abraham family had given up such attempts. He was the only one who kept at it, teaching his students of his own accord. I'm gonna take off that pillow. This also made him recall a prophecy that was passed around with the family. The Abrahams were increasingly approaching their destruction. When the two matters together, he rushed over to Backland to confirm his student's situation. He wished that she could advance as soon as possible, leaving some hope for the Abraham family. I just grasped the various astrological knowledge, Forrest replied, feeling a little guilty. Due to her lack of money, she hadn't bought the high-quality crystal ball needed to be an astrologer. To not continue on this topic, Forrest began asking Dorian Gray about acting principles needed for the astrologer, obtaining advice such as astrology isn't all-powerful. I read that wrong. Towards the end, Forrest glanced at the dark brown suitcase beside her and said, teacher, there's one more matter. What is it? Dorian leaned back into the chair and leisurely drank a mouthful of black tea. Forrest followed the script she had prepared and said, after knowing that Lewis Wayne betrayed the organization, inflicting a great deal of harm upon all of you, I've always had the thought of finding him and exacting revenge for all of you. Give up that thought, Dorian sat up straight. Even if you have layman travels, you are no match for him, much less able to kill him. And she's like, actually, I got someone to kill him. Oh, shit. I'm very glad that you have such thoughts, but there's no need to take unnecessary risks. I'm definitely not able to do it alone. Forrest mumbled silently before saying, I'm definitely not able to do it alone. Forrest mumbled silently before saying, I got to know a very powerful bounty hunter. I spent about 10,000 pounds to seek his help. She wasn't able to estimate the cost of the job, so she had used the price that Miss Audrey paid when previously entrusting them to kill the Intis ambassador. That might be a cheat. Lewis Wayne is likely a traveler, and he has the support of the Aurora Order. Dorian didn't hold any hopes of any bounty hunter being Lewis Wayne's match when he heard his student say, he has already succeeded. Cough. He's like, what the fuck? Cough, cough, cough. Dorian choked on his saliva as he brought out into a fit of coughs. He dropped the teacup to the ground, but it bounced up like magic, firmly landing. What the fuck? He dropped the teacup. The teacup falls, but it bounced up like magic, firmly landing on the coffee table. Okay? He has given me Lewis Wayne's head. Forrest held up the dark brown suitcase and opened it, taking out the spherical object, which was wrapped in newspapers. With the newspapers unfolded bit by bit, Dorian saw the face that he would never forget. The smug smile on Lewis Wayne's face, back when he attacked the Abraham family headquarters, was gone. Damn. His head was covered in cracks as though it had been glued together piece by piece. It was gruesome, filled with pain and despair. As an astrologer, Dorian Gray's spiritual intuition told him that it was undoubtedly Lewis Wayne's head. Good, very good. Dorian muttered in excitement before looking up at the student who was a bounty hunter. I can't imagine Backland having such a powerful bounty hunter. Forrest hesitated for a moment before saying German Sparrow. Damn. Oh shit, Dorian's warning. Okay, what's gonna happen now? Those chains won't hold me for long, dude. Oh man. I'm so excited to see when Klein goes up like a worthy opponent, you know? Like when he's finally like at like when he's like at a breaking point. Like he has to use everything at his dispense and he still struggles. I want to see that moment. These fights are way too easy for him right now, dude. I can only imagine how it's going to get later. Oh, it's going to be so fucking good, man. 7, 8, 7. Let me do my timestamp before I forget. 1 hour, 45 minutes, 59 seconds. Ow. Ooh, my back. Copy, paste. After this chapter, I might quickly eat a hot dog. 1 sec. I'm gonna just toss that bad boy in like the microwave and I'll be done in like not even a minute. And I'll fucking eat it super quickly. just so I can eat a little bit, and then hopefully I can read for like another 30 minutes. Keep reading. Volume 5-8 are flawless in every aspect. Of course, John. Of course. What do you mean? We're not gonna drop it. We're volume 4 already. We're literally halfway through this series. There is no way we drop it. Look, gonna eat Ellie. Look, just so you know, on my end, because I don't think it has all the extra side stories, we are currently 56.83% done with this series. I just want you guys to know that before I forget. We are currently, how's it going, man? Dude, we're 56% done with LOTM. That is crazy, Wiz. By the way, do you know how to play chess? I was thinking we have like a chess tournament. I don't know how to play chess. Oh, Wiz, I forgot to ask you, because you left stream the other day. You watched Formula 1, right? I finally got into Formula 1 after watching the movie, man. It's so crazy. The movie was so good. It turned me into a Formula 1 fan overnight. I'm like on season 2 of the Formula 1 documentary, like Drive to Survive. And it only gets better. Fuck, man. It's only going to get better. I think we're like on our 10th chapter so far today. Yeah, we're like on chapter 10 right now. Yeah, we're in our 10th chapter today. Let me drink some carbonated water. Technically, but man, my skills fell off. All right, never mind. We should have a self-training tournament arc where we learn chess, and we have like a friendly tournament. F1 is so good, man. I watch every race every weekend live, bro. Wiz, I have to formally apologize for streaming during the second to last F1 tournament, because bro, I love it, man. I was watching the other Grand Prix while I was at Anime Expo. Luckily, it was only airing while I was live, but we can do a stream where I teach you. Bet. F1, bet, I'm down. Uncreated chess, but can't beat Jimmy, 3-year-old from Oklahoma. Damn. I bet I'm down for that. Yeah, dude, I love it, man. I'm so into Formula 1 now. I got so into the sport. Like, it's crazy. Once I realized, like I never got into it because I used to watch NASCARs, and like, because I knew people that watched NASCARs, and I wasn't into it. And so when I thought about Formula 1, like, it's just like, it's like NASCAR. It's like, it's not for me. Like, I'd rather watch like street races, like fucking Need for Speed or whatever. And then I watched the movie because of Brad Pitt, and I'm like, wow, this is an amazing sport. I also taught your mom chess. Fucking Wiz. All right, let me read one more chapter, and I'm gonna quickly go eat a hot dog. Oh shit, Anime Wiz, yeah, but not very well. That's why you're not my daddy. Damn, we can do like a chess chill F1 chess stream. That'd be awesome. I'm fucking down, dude. All right, look, next week I'm not reading during the Grand Prix because I want to watch the shit. I want to watch practice day. I want to watch qualifying day, and I want to watch the actual cup. Not only that, bro, I actually want to go to an F1 event. I either have to do something West Coast. The only thing I know that's in West Coast is the one in Las Vegas in November, but I'm not paying. It's like $700, bro. It's so expensive just to go to that shit in November. Was this trying to stall you, Geeky? Wake up. I know. I gotta wake up. You're stuck in the Matrix. Wake up. I know. Oh, wait, hold up. Thank you, Kevin. Oh, shit. I got stuck. Hold up. All right, let's read one more chapter, and then I'm gonna go eat a hot dog. And I may or may not end stream, but luckily we're gonna read 10 chapters just in case. All right, chapter 787. Hell yeah. If you're kind of free later, we can watch the Grand Prix while on like Discord call. Be awesome. Bet. I'm down. I'm so down for that. Wake up. I'm down. Dorian warning. German Spur. Dorian felt the vessels on his forehead pulse when he heard that as he held his hands together, tensing up without realizing it. Situating in Prince Harbor, he inevitably learned that the various news at sea, both actively and passively knowing far more than the residents in Backland who relied on the newspapers. In recent months, he often heard from different channels of information about German Sparrow, from killing Steel Mavetti to severely injuring Vice Admiral Element Tracy to successfully hunting Admiral Blood Center. All the stories were colored with mania. He left the sea and came to Backland. He hasn't changed his trait of craziness. Dorian held back the horror and warnings that subconsciously rose in his heart as he looked at his student and said in a deep voice, "It's best that you minimize your communication with that bounty hunter. He's bound to get into big trouble one day, and it wouldn't take long for that to happen. Teacher is indeed experienced and has a great acumen." I'm reading that wrong. He instantly saw that Mr. World's instinctive nature. Unfortunately, I'm already a member of the Terror Club, so it's impossible for me not to communicate with him. Force adjusted her state of mind and sincerely nodded. Yes, teacher. Dorian composed himself and once again looked at the former student and currently enemy, Lewis Wayne. Oh, shit. I forgot about that. Yeah, his former student. Good night, guys. Damn, it's early. No, it's okay, Tian. Dude, thank you for hanging out with us, man. Thanks again for tuning in, dude. Don't worry, we'll have the video up soon, and we should be streaming tomorrow a lot earlier, so it shouldn't be that late for you. Dorian composed himself and once again looked at his former student and current enemy, Lewis Wayne. However, this traveler could no longer speak. He didn't even have an iota of spirituality left. After a few seconds of silence, Dorian leaned back slightly and looked at Forrest. You mentioned paying 10,000 pounds for the job. He wasn't aware of that Forrest's financial situation, other than knowing that his student was a best-selling author who likely earned quite a bit of money from her royalties. Furthermore, she seemed to be doing quite well in her few beyond her circles with transactions that rewarded her handsomely. Therefore, it wasn't too surprising or unacceptable that she could save up 10,000 pounds. Forrest fidgeted, feeling a slight guilty conscience as she said, "Is it too expensive?" She deliberately asked a question in order to hide the fact that she had mentioned a fake number so as to show that she didn't have much experience in such matters. Dorian shook his head. "No, it's too cheap." "What?" "It's so cheap that I suspect whether German Sparrow has other motives. As a member of the Abraham family, which has suffered numerous setbacks, he often maintained a relatively high level of wariness. In the professional terminology of various clubs and gatherings, that's called a membership fee?" What? No, heads up, I'm not going to watch episode 5 on stream. I think I am going to watch it off stream just to be safe. I'm not sure yet. We'll find out. We'll find out tomorrow. I'll let you guys know tomorrow, Walter. I'm still 50-50. In the professional terminology of various clubs and gatherings, that's called a membership fee. Forrest lampooned as she frankly said there were other conditions, including everything on Lewis Wayne's person belonging to him, as well as the requirement of me providing him help. Also, I promise that if he's in need of cash in the future, I will compensate him an additional 3,000 pounds. That's reasonable, but just barely. Dorian nodded gently and said, usually assassinating Lewis Wayne, who had the Aurora Order backing him, would cost at least 30,000 pounds. Damn. Yeah, she got that membership discount. And if there are any other situations, the price will be higher. Back then, Mr. World had used demigod powers recording in layman's travels. He probably encountered something else. An Aurora Order Saint, having had an end-defying experience extracted on her by the Terror Club. Forrest wasn't unfamiliar with the Aurora Order structure. She didn't hide her frown. She said, from the looks of it, it's indeed a little abnormal. Perhaps he's in the spite of need of cash. Dorian thought and said, perhaps he cares more about Lewis Wayne beyond her characteristics. To the beyond or the other pathways, it can be forged into a rather useful mystical item as long as he finds a suitable artisan. Dorian paused for 2 seconds before adding, there's no need to worry about that. Just stay away from him in the future. Perhaps he had long targeted Lewis Wayne and he was just using the information you provide to carry out the assassination while still getting an additional bonus. Dorian didn't continue on the topic as he took out his fist-sized pure crystal ball from his pocket. It's made of star crystal and it can effectively raise your astronomy. The light shone in from the outside of the window as resplendent waves surfaced within the crystal ball. Without waiting for Forrest to reject, Dorian chuckled. Lewis Wayne is my enemy. The payment used to get rid of him should be paid by me. I don't have that much cash at the moment, and I can only use some items to deduct from your payment. No, there's no need. Forrest shook her head, partly genuine, but partly in contradiction to her will. It was genuine because she only wanted to seek revenge for her teacher back when she thought of getting rid of Lewis Wayne without considering the possible rewards she could later receive. Yeah, she didn't do it for that. It was in contradiction to her will because she couldn't reject the reward. Dorian said with a stern expression, do you wish for me to be ashamed and uneasy? Don't worry, I still have quite a bit of will. Forrest nodded in response. All right then. She only has like a couple hundred. No, she's struggling right now. Dorian smiled once again. Also, I've brought you the scribe potion formula. Already? I've brought you the scribe potion formula. You can gather the oh, just the potion formula. Yeah, not the actual potion. You can gather the corresponding ingredients as you digest the astrologer potion. Yeah, okay. I'll prepare one of the main ingredients for you. The brain of an Asman? You'll have to rely on yourself for the rest. An Asman was said to be a monster that existed in ancient times. It looked like an unprotected human brain that could not fill a room. That could fill a room? It looked like an unprotected human brain that could fill a room. Not only could it create terrifying illusions, but it can also make its attackers die from their own attacks. As he spoke, Dorian took out a yellowish-brown goatskin and passed it to Forrest. Forrest received it in gratitude and quickly scanned the list of main ingredients. 1 complete brain of an Asman. Cursed artifact of an ancient rave. I hope I can gather the remaining ingredients before I finish digesting the astrologer potion. Just as Forrest rolled up the goatskin, she saw Dorian take out pure golden box from his suitcase. After removing the wall of spirituality, Dorian opened the box and said, without the golden closing it, the brain of an Asman will constantly affect you, causing you to hallucinate until you lose your mental facilities. Inside the squarish box was a blob of grayish-white, translucent and wrinkled object. It was about a fifth the size of Louis Wayne's head. A fifth. Okay, it's small. As expected, a family with a long history, Forrest sincerely thanked him once again and received the golden box and skillfully closed it and used a wall of spirituality to seal it. Dorian didn't stop and instead gave an excuse for Forrest to stay back. He set up a ritual and summoned the void creature, Mal Mouth, who enjoyed music. He then took out 2 documents from the creature's spherical body. He then prepared the 3 items for Forrest when he received the shocking news regarding Mr. Dorr. Therefore, he had it on him. These are the 2 pieces of property in Backland. One of them is the Hillston Borough and the other is the Sherwood Borough. They're in excellent locations and should have a total value of £6,500. The amount you can sell them for will be yours, Dorian said with a smile. Look at him helping her out. Although the Abraham family was in a state of decline, as a former Angel family with a long history, it still had quite a bit of resources, including land, tree farms, property, manors, and mines. Okay, so they still have all those resources. However, Dorian only had control over a few, with most of the remainder belonging to the various smaller families. Just finished eating my pizza and now back to spread the word of my fool. Amen. Praise the fool. There you go, dude. The place I'm renting costs £2,500 and is an okay district, but an average location. What teacher gave me today does add up to about £10,000. Forrest couldn't help but sigh inwardly. In the Holy Wind Cathedral, Deep Blue official Randall Valentius looked at the Mandarin Puncher Deccan and said, any findings? The new Backland Archbishop was a middle-aged man with a domineering demeanor. His dark blue hair was thick and he had large earlobes. His eyes seemed to constantly hide lightning and storms within them. The Mandarin Puncher Deccan standing before his desk was a thin, middle-aged man wearing a modified captain's hat. His looks didn't stand out, but there was an anchor tattooed on his neck. The man answered reverently, Your Eminence, we've already caught some of the members who participated in the gathering. However, they have no idea who the rest are, much less know the person who assassinated Mr. X. According to their description, the assailant was about 1.6 meters tall and likely female. We can't rule out the possibility that it's a short man. Randall held back his anger and said, What do you plan on doing next? As well as temporarily unable to know who Mr. X invited to the gathering, and 1.6 meter tall woman are common. Our plan is to relax our stance on the surface as we target a few suspicious targets and convert those we've caught into informants. Without us exerting any danger, those bunch of lunatics from the Aurora Order will definitely seek out the murderer themselves in order to avenge Mr. X. They'll likely do a carpet search, and this way not only will we find the assassin, but we'll also discover more clues to the Aurora Order. The thin middle-aged man explained in detail. Randall nodded in thought and said, Roy, when taking action, remember to apply for a grade 1 seal artifact. Okay. The situation is clear that the Aurora Order has at least a saint in Backland, and the assassination strength is greater than the typical Sequence 5 Beyonder. Exactly. And they similarly have a demigod backing them. Yes, Your Eminence, Roy, we at least need a Sequence 1 item backing us up. Yes, Your Eminence, Roy Weasley struck the left side of his chest with his right hand. Dwayne, you often exceed my expectations. It hasn't taken you long to finish your studying the revelation of Evernight's Book of Wisdom. Inside St. Samuel Cathedral, Bishop Electra closed the Bible in his hands and smiled at the pious tycoon with gray sideburns and deep blue eyes. Klein laughed and replied, This is expected of a believer. Next up is the study of the letters of saints. Yes, which saint do you wish to begin with? Electra asked. Klein looked to his side and chuckled. Let's do St. Samuel then. Electra wasn't surprised that he seriously introduced Saint Samuel was a Backland archbishop during the 4th epoch, from way back then, of the Ternecet Empire. He contributed greatly to the spreading of the goddess's faith and entered her divine kingdom before dying, becoming an angel. As he spoke, he flipped to the corresponding letters of the saints. At this moment, Klein's spiritual perception was triggered. He felt a deep sense of evil and diabolical will spread above him. Following that, a cold and quiet feeling descended from an underground, leveling everything and restoring the cathedral to its former tranquility. Bishop Electra snapped out of his daze and said to Dwayne Dantes, who didn't seem to detect anything, Sorry, I just recalled something. Walter, I'm coming for you. All right. That was a good chapter. I thought it said Hidden Stage, but it's called Hidden Passage. I'm back. Welcome back. You came back as we do our beautiful outro. Look at that. You came back just in time for our outro, Bullseye. Oh man, you came back just in time for our outro. I think I am gonna go eat, bro. Scary. I think I am gonna end stream eat. I have about 2 hours before I go to the gym with the misses. So I think I can at least get some stuff done in those 2 hours that I have free. So I probably won't end it, and then I'm gonna come back a lot earlier tomorrow. No, one sec. Hold up. Copy. One sec. We're gonna do overall thoughts. Yeah, I apologize that we're ending right here at 2.5 hours. But we read another 10 chapters. 778 to 787. I think that's pretty good. Make a decision. Yeah. Boza, you've been back 3 times. You go to the gym with a miss easy? Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, look. I'm gonna keep it $150. Look, I'm gonna tell you my fitness journey. I was pretty out of shape at one point. I got pretty fat. I started working out. I got in the best shape of my life, man. Oh my god, bro. It's like, dude, my fucking muscles were flexing, dude. Oh my god. And then I started dating the missus. We went to the gym pretty consistently in the beginning, like early in the morning before work, IRL, socializing, all that, before streaming and everything. And then it's like, after a while, we got too happy in the relationship and we just stopped going. And then we're both slowly starting to gain weight, and we're both slowly going back to like an unhealthy eating habit lifestyle. And I don't want that. I'm back when I am back, and I don't want that to happen, sure, buddy. And it's like I don't want to like get overweight again. So we're trying to make it so we do go. If we miss a gym in the morning, we're trying to make it so where we do go after. Same, I used to not be in shape, but now I try to be consistent. So look, I am gonna apologize if in the next coming weeks over the summer I end stream a little bit early, because I don't go to the gym early in the day. So what that's why I'm trying to get my sleeping schedule fixed. That's like, oh my god, it's so bad right now. All your E's with the accents. Yeah, there's a lot of E's right there. Oh, here, let's do our outro for now. Like we're gonna do our outro. Overall thoughts, 1 hour and 57 minutes in. Look at that. We read about 10 chapters in 2 hours. I think that's pretty good. All right, that's pretty good. So we're gonna leave it there. We're gonna be back tomorrow a lot early. I've been on a treadmill for 20 minutes right now. Yo, good shit, dude. I am gonna go use my treadmill. And we're gonna see how long we can go. Well, not a treadmill. I want to see if I can get like a walking treadmill when I'm on stream. That way, when I'm reading, I can just like stand and read. I feel like that'd be a lot helpful. Like a little small portable one. I'm on the phone username. Bro, I'm cooked. I missed the appointment I took 2 months ago because I noted the wrong day. Aw, Bender done that. Well, I'm gonna see you guys all very soon. We're gonna end stream. I'm still 50-50 if I am gonna stream the episodes tomorrow. Just for copyright sake, I am still kind of scared. I mean, we were pretty lucky the first few times, but I'm pretty scared that we might get a strike while we're live. So I'm 50-50 if I do them off stream or not. But I'll let you guys know tomorrow. I am gonna be out tomorrow later at night. I am gonna go watch the Superman movie. Is Square Pizza the bomb or not? Square Pizza? I don't think I've ever eaten square pizza. I've seen pictures of square pizza, but I don't know. I've always just I don't know if I'm call me a noob, but I've only ever had regular spherical pizzas. But I'm gonna let you guys know. I'm gonna let you guys go, and I'll let you guys know tomorrow if we're gonna be reading. No, if we're gonna be watching LOM while we're reading LOTM. I hope you guys have a beautiful day. If you like what you see, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share the video, dislike the video if you didn't like it. Please like it. You guys let me know. Thank you to all our beautiful mods. Thank you to all our beautiful members. Thank you to everybody that's been donating. Thank you for everybody that's been tuning into the streams. Even if you're not talking in chat, like just viewing the stream in and of itself is it's already like a huge support. So thank you guys. We wouldn't be doing this without you guys. Peace and have a beautiful day. Yeah. Peace, YouTube. So remember, the fool who stalls. Wait, I already forgot my own honorific. So this is me saying goodbye. The raider who stalls for eternity. The tamer of beasts and dogs. The one who farms LOTM. Easy Geeky. Out. Peace. And have a beautiful day. Later, guys.